Jimmy Millar, well, as most of us know you as Jimmy Justice.
Now it's Justice Jimmy Millar.
Justice Jimmy Millar, that's
Jimmy
it.
Millar, yeah.
So, man, welcome to my very first episode on the Dean Gunther podcast. It's a real honor to have you. I've known you since 2017. And, man, I'm excited to hear all about your life. But first of all, before we introduce yourself and everything, just tell the people, what are you getting? What have you decided to get here today? Okay. And what made you get this design? We'll obviously do the review when we're done.
When you think about body art, I've always been a guy who's gone with like symbols, if you know what I mean. So this cross is a symbol. Yeah. I've got a crown here, symbol. The Leo rune, symbol. I've got a Neapolitan Mastiff, which is also the dog from ancient Rome. So I've got this sort of maybe symbol thing going on. Look, this is like a Roman centurion, a Spartan, you know, it's going to look well. It's a symbol, you know, it symbolises a warrior.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and
I think it's very fitting.
It's unique as well, you know, with the script.
And it says, be violent first.
Yeah, be violent first, yeah. So for the bare-knuckle boxing, you know, you don't want to be the one getting hit, you want to be the one hitting.
That's it.
You know, so you hit them first, you know.
Right, so Jimmy, can you share about your background and how you got into the bare-knuckle? Because obviously you've been fighting for a very long time. Only recently you've been getting into the bare-knuckle, is that right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So actually the BKFC, the world champion in the light heavyweight division, he's 44 years of age, Lorenzo Hunt. Then you've got...
I've seen a lot of his fights.
My next opponent, Danny Christie, the British UK champion, at light heavyweight, 39 years of age, yeah?
Wow.
This is the sort of age group where men are coming into their prime, yeah? The world champions, they're all like 40 is a good age. I'm 40 years of age, yeah? You know, I've come from a professional fighting background. I'm mentally prepared for bare-knuckle, you know? It takes years to be that fortitude, you know?
And you don't think... And you hear some people say, once you reach like 35, 36, or like
in professional
Michael Chandler,
boxing,
then people say, oh, they're over the wall. But you say, guys, 40 and you're still going.
In the BKFC, in the bare-knuckle boxing, they're 2-minute rounds. It's a big difference. I'm not saying I'm ready for professional MMA. I used to do pro MMA, 5-minute rounds. You know, like...
Yeah, big difference.
It's a big difference, yeah, you know. There's a lot of experience comes into play in the bare-knuckle, like I say, in toughness and... I feel like I'm in my prime for bare-knuckle. Everything, all the wars I've had have led me up to where I am now, you know. I'm in the right place at the right time. You know, thanks to God and
that's it, man.
Little dream that I've had recently, you know. Since the first time I seen the BKFC, I seen it on my mobile phone maybe, and I thought, wow, that looks exciting, you know what I mean? I liked the iconic circle ring. And I wished then, a little dream, you know, that I wish that that would have been my sport, because I knew how tough I was. I knew that my weapons were my fists. And I knew that would have been my sport, but it wasn't around. And now the BKFC is like the UFC.
Right, so that's what drew you into it.
Well, at the time, I didn't understand what cage fighting was. It was just coming about. I thought, this looks cool. I want to get involved, you know. But then being almost a retired MMA fighter, and then seeing the BKFC and its rise, thinking, wow, this is the sport I want to be doing or I should have been doing. And when the opportunity come around for me to chase after it, that's exactly what I've done. And then I've manifested myself now where I'm fighting Danny Christie as a champion.
Oh, yeah.
So this is great, you know.
Wow, that's awesome. That fight's in June, correct?
Yeah, very soon, yeah.
Man, and are you prepared for it mentally, physically?
Yeah, I'm prepared as I'm ever going to be. Like I say, all these battles have led me up to now. I had the most toughest debut to the BKFC.
Oh yeah.
It was a really tough, brutal fight.
Oh mate.
And you know, so if I've been through that, then I know what it's about, you know. So
that looked brutal. Also the the post-fight interview, you were smashed up, but it just shows you what warrior you are. Don't back off for nothing. Don't stop. Doesn't matter how much you get hit. Don't stop.
God give me that opportunity to test me.
That's
you know, see how much I wanted it. You know.
Yeah.
Like. It was my fear, you know what I mean? Like, I was afraid that would I give up, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't got that fear anymore. I know that if I've done it once, I can do it again, you know?
Yeah. So can you describe the training regimen and the, preparing for bare-knuckle fight? Like, what does that take?
Oh, cardio, so sprints would be good.
All right, so loads of sprint.
And, obviously sparring. very important.
Yeah.
To be like match fit, you know.
Are you allowed to knock out your sparring partners and?
No, I mean,
you don't do
I
it like that.
Iron sharpens iron, so like to be honest with you, I should look for sparring partners that are going to be better than me. I mean, just because they're better at boxing than me doesn't mean that they'd be a better bare knuckle fighter than me.
Yeah, of course.
But to spar some of these elite amateurs, you know, they light me up, man. You know what I mean?
Man.
I've left the ring bleeding, you know, and doubting myself, you know, like. But just got to remember is that it's needed. Do you know what I mean? There's no point sparring people that you're better than and giving you a false sense of.
Yeah, exactly. And then you think, you know, you're unbeatable or untouchable. And
so I'm not a big sparrer. I don't spar all year round. I train all year round. I'm in the boxing gym all year round. I hit the bags all year round.
Yeah.
But very important that we work pads for your like coordination and your timing and your fitness as well. Because if you try hitting pads when you're used to hitting the bag, it's a big difference. Pad man makes you work, move your head, move your legs, you know. So well, you should move your head on the bags anyway.
Yeah. And do you move around gyms to try out different gyms, or is it important for you to stick to your team?
I've got a routine, so I've got different gyms I use for different things.
Okay.
So me and my team will use the gym during the daytime, but then there's another gym which is my stable gym, which is where I take my son amateur boxing training. And I always join in.
So your son is also now doing the boxing?
Yeah, he's not fighting as in amateur. Yeah. When I was his age, I was having bouts.
Right.
But the boxing gym don't feel he's ready yet. But I'm not pushing him to be ready.
No. I think he'll know.
He enjoys it. And
that's great. I mean, he's been going to all your fights. He's been walking. He walked out also
BKFC,
from BKFC. Yeah. I mean, I think it's bound, you know, to happen for him to join the fight world.
Cute. He's got my name saved on his mobile phone as BKFC champ.
Oh yeah, manifest that, man. Yeah. Do you believe in manifesting and?
100%.
And it will come to fruition. What do you say?
Your thoughts become your reality. So
that's it.
I thought of the BKFC and I dreamed of it, and then even though it wasn't going for me, you know, like I tried to get on this first card in Wembley.
Yeah.
And the promoter had enough of me. He blocked me on WhatsApp. And,
right.
What could I do? You know, like I know the reason why he did, but
Anyway, were you driving him a bit crazy with messages and stuff, or?
Well, kind of. You know, like, do you know what, it was between.
But ego. You wanna.
Yeah. Sometimes when you chase something, then you know it runs away from you. You know.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I get it, man. You really want something.
So guess what? I was in the company of somebody that was on the telephone to him, and I grabbed the telephone and I said, Andrew, why are you ignoring me? Why'd you block me? Why can't I fight? I'll sell tickets, you know.
Yeah, what's up, Andrew?
Listen, he gave me the opportunity. He got me, matched me against a really tough guy who was unbeaten. Probably wanted to get me beaten up. I don't know.
All right.
I come through it, and I come through it.
And you won that fight, or?
Yeah, I won that fight, and then.
Amazing.
So you know, I didn't get to fight again in the BKFC for a whole year.
Wow.
So it's been over a year since I've been in the BKFC circle.
Sorry, go on.
Well, listen, so I was desperate to do something to boost my profile, but I mean, I don't want to leave the BKFC and bare-knuckle for another company organisation, because that's like, you know, you're leaving the organisation for that, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But what I could do is fight for free in the forest, of Dublin.
Oh, I've seen that.
And that got a lot of recognition, and I think that helped boost my profile.
I think that's sometimes you need to do things like that, because it's. I've seen quite a few of the guys just coming up out of nowhere. Yeah. They're doing a few of these illegal underground fights, or like King of the Streets or whatever. You know, kick the people's head like a football off the ground and whatever. It goes viral, gets millions of views. Yeah. And sometimes that's the kind of things you need to do to get out there, you know.
And I was prepared to do whatever I needed to do next to get out there, and you know, so.
And that's what it takes sometimes to, you know, nothing comes easy. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. And I mean, obviously there's thousands of fighters, but at the end of the day, what sets you apart from the rest?
Well said, Dean. Well said.
You know.
Exactly.
And like you say. Okay, you haven't fought for a year now.
In the BKFC.
Yeah.
I've fought boxing in between that. I've even had a professional K1 fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And how does the fighting pay? Because what a lot of people don't realize, even in the UFC, you get, say, 20 to show up, 20 to win. So if you don't win, you get 20 grand. You got to pay your sponsors, your camp, and tax and everything, and you're left with like 5 grand. And
That's correct,
what if you get an injury, rotator cuff, you're out for 6 months? I mean, that's a hard life, you know. You've got family, kids to look after.
I've got a trade, so yeah. Luckily, I've been working.
Yeah, that's good. Have you ever had serious setbacks, like injuries that really put you out for a long time?
No, never, no.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen that fight with Max Holloway and at UFC 300 with Justin Gaethje, and Justin said after suffering that brutal KO, he's not taking any more punches for at least 6 months. He can't recovery,
exactly.
Can't risk it. Serious, man.
Well, after my first BKFC fight, there was an opportunity to fight again on a show where someone had pulled out, and so there was no tickets needed to be sold. You know, just basically go there and fight. But I felt that I wasn't recovered. You know, my face didn't feel recovered, and I just so you know, my instincts told me not to take that. You know, so it works out better for myself. You know. Also.
So you gave it a miss, that one.
Yeah, I gave it a miss.
I think it's good to listen to your, you know, intuition, to your inner voice.
Definitely, yeah.
You know.
There was also a good fight which was offered to me in the BKFC Bulgaria, which is a lighter weight. A lighter weight which I've never fought at, you know?
Yeah.
Which I don't feel comfortable being that light, you know?
Yeah, you don't know how drained you're going to feel.
Yeah, so yet again, my instincts told me not to, you know? But I knew when this fight come along, my instincts told me, this is the one, you know?
That's it. And it wasn't a light fight. And I mean, also your opponent for June, I mean, he's a formidable fighter, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a warrior, yeah.
So it's not like you pick an easy fight at all. So how was that experience for you fighting up in the mountain there in Ireland? I mean, we can put a link in the, you know, in the description of the video on YouTube, so that people can go and watch it. There was like a man, the referee, he was like wearing a mankini, man.
Yeah, I'd like to direct them to my Instagram account.
All right, we'll add all of that later. What is your Instagram called now? Beetroot King, is it?
Beetroot King. And you can see the forest fight is pinned. It's gone quite viral, actually.
Yeah.
I've got 150,000 views currently.
Yeah,
just
man,
going
I
off.
think that's going to keep shooting up.
Yeah. It just goes off, you know, like notification after notification, you know, and you do like 40,000 views in a weekend.
You love beetroot then. In South Africa, the Minister of Health, she said at one point beetroot will cure AIDS.
Really? Wow.
So, it's a funny one.
I had some turnip juice the other day. So beetroots and turnips. I asked ChatGPT about, you know, are they the same? They're completely different, you know? So it'd be great to mix them actually, beetroots and turnip together.
Oh, I love all that stuff, man. Tastes like ground, but it's healthy. Speak about ChatGPT, I've heard some crazy stuff. Have you ever thought about asking ChatGPT for a fight plan on a certain opponent?
That is a good idea, actually. I might actually. That is a good idea.
I'm sure at one point, obviously the technology is so mental.
Yeah.
You're gonna upload a fight video of an opponent, and it's gonna break it down for you and say, you know,
you could say,
nuts or whatever.
Give us some. You could give me a pre-fight speech in the words of Cuz the Motto. That's brilliant. If you're asking ChatGPT to do anything for you, say in the words of Cuz the Motto or Marcus Aurelius. Yeah.
Amazing. I think AI is a great tool, man.
Yeah. I had a bit of fun with it at first. I was getting it to send text messages to people. More aggressive.
So listen, so how do you mentally prepare yourself for a fight? So it's leading up, fight month, fight week. how do you mentally get in the game, in the right headspace?
Well, it helps now that I've been in the BKFC circle. But the first time that I went inside the BKF circle was at the ceremonial weigh-ins at the venue. They had the ring set up, and I just went in there, and I felt these ropes. They're like solid bars of steel. You know, they've got, but they're not like a boxing ring. You know, and you can see the blood on the canvas, and you know your nerves are going, and you're thinking, oh God, I'm going in there. You know, now I've been in there. You know, and you can try to visualize it, to manifest, meditate rather. You know, see yourself in there, see yourself doing well. You know, that way that when you're in there, it's almost like you're going through the motions because you've been there so many times before. You've been there in your meditations. Yeah. You know, so when you talk about mentally preparing, you know.
Yeah. Did you go down to the ring when it was empty just to get the feel of it?
Yeah, we get a feel of it.
Empty arena, just yourself walking.
It was terrifying. A bit terrifying.
Yeah, I believe you, man.
You know, like I'd become quite comfortable in a cage. You know, I've been fought in cages many times. I've been in a cage maybe 25 times professionally. Doing K1 fighting, MMA fighting.
Tell us about that. There's a video of you where you're were you 6 guys fighting and you were dressed up. Everybody's dressed up as a character.
No, there's different videos.
That's a different organization and everything.
Yeah, well, my most viral videos are, one was Southampton's Hardest Man. Now, on that event, I fought in an 8-man eliminator, and they allowed me to dress as the Riddler. I was the only one who was dressed up. But that night, they also did a special fight between Batman and Robin versus Spider-Man, and that went really viral on the internet.
Yeah.
And at the end of the fight, Spider-Man was the victor, and I put it on Spider-Man. I wasn't part of that. I just gate crashed the party. I jumped on the ring, so to speak, and I took Spider-Man out. Yeah. That played on TikTok recently. I seen.
Oh yeah, they'll forever do the rounds. Sometimes these videos come out of nowhere and then they just start going crazy. How important was it for you to win your first fight in BKFC?
It meant everything. It was like redemption for all the fights that I give up on in MMA.
Yeah.
I give up because of the money. I give up because I felt like I didn't deserve to win. My objective in a lot of those MMA fights was just to get the money, you know? I already knew that. I knew I couldn't be in the UFC because I had a negative record from starting my career with the wrong management, without the correct training, you know, taking fights on a whim. It was like something that I could do, just like he could do a tattoo to make some money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if he's doing it to make some money, it's not going to be the best tattoo, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So
he's just going to rush it and do it to get the money as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it because it means everything to you, that's the difference.
So when did you have that shift in your mind to say, I want more than just money from this fight? When did you realize you need to make that shift?
When I was retired, and I thought to myself, well, my son's going to be a young man, and he's going to be, if I'm not around or whatever, you know, or just say he's looking for his dad on the internet, you know, and he sees me quitting in MMA, tapping out, you know, it's not a good example to set for him. You know, I want him to know that, you know, you can't quit in life. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I had to, it was my opportunity to go, and this is better than anything because I've showed him, you know what I mean, pure resilience, determination, hard work, you know, everything in that fight, you know, and it was, so I'm proud of that, you know, because it erases all that MMA stuff when I used to tap out for a paycheck, you know. I mean, because a lot of those fights I could have won. If I wanted to win them, I could have, you know what I mean? But I almost felt like I didn't deserve to. Like I didn't put in the work or whatever, you know, like...
Yeah, and let me
spiritual.
What do you think of fighters betting on themselves? Like, I've heard people say it's okay if they bet on themselves to win. I think Ryan Garcia bet 2 million on himself against a Haney fight, and he won like 20 million.
Amazing, yeah. I think you should bet on yourself, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't bet on himself to lose, and then people can say, oh, but you took a dive for the pay and for the bag, which he didn't, obviously.
If you've got a good connection with God, like I believe Ryan Garcia has,
Yeah.
So he just thinks, you know, I'm favoured by God. That's why you listen to his music. He's like, I'm blessed, highly favoured. you know? So he's feeling that synchronicity from the universe. He believes that he's not just him, he's got God with him, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm feeling the same right now, yeah? I'm blessed, I'm highly favoured, you know?
That's
so
great.
I would bet on myself too.
That's great.
Just haven't got the money to bet.
We'll get there.
You'll get there, yeah.
Yeah, so when you were up in the mountains in Ireland, was it Belfast? Sorry, I just moved your leg there.
Dublin.
Was it Dublin? Yeah.
Dublin, yes.
And the lad, was it shadow boxer with the mankini?
Yeah, crazy guy.
I've seen a few funny videos of him actually, you know, calling the people out, and the English people seem to lose their minds.
Yeah.
You think he gets the reaction he's looking for, yeah?
Exactly, yeah, he wants the reaction. So you have to be something these days, you know, you have to invoke people to comment, you know?
Yeah,
so
I mean, people want entertainment, that's why Conor is so big as well.
So yeah, if he's got people hating on him, then people are going to want to watch him fight if he takes on someone who's potentially going to beat him. I didn't think that Bash was a very good opponent for him.
But they didn't fight, did they?
No, they didn't. Bash
right,
didn't turn up.
Is it just called off, the fight?
Yeah, well, he did his best to make the fight. He booked Bash's flights, and he even had a pay-per-view stream set up, and he was advertising it on his YouTube channel. Not sure how many people would have tuned in to watch Bash and him fight.
Right.
But if he was going to fight someone like Danny Christie, for example, you know, you'd have 100,000 people wanting to watch that fight, you know? And that's amazing that, you know, a guy from nowhere, as in no fighting career, can make that much money off a fight by picking the right opponent who's popular, building the right content to dramatise it, which is what he's a master of. And, you know, instead of fighting for peanuts on a promotion, having his own pay-per-view behind closed doors is a great way for a YouTuber or an influencer or whatever to make money. So I can't knock him for doing that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So do you think he's got the skills?
Well, you're only as good as the people you're fighting. So Andy Goy, a guy that he beat in 8 seconds, I don't think's won a fight. So you can't really gauge how good he is until he's been battle tested.
Yeah, true that.
Till he's had to bite down on his gum shield.
And do you condition your knuckles at all? Is there any regimen that you follow to strengthen it, toughen it up?
Yeah, I started punching car tyres bare-fisted.
Oh, nice.
Last year, and then I ended up getting an abrasion on my knuckles. That's all leading to like a big story here. The abrasion then got infected. My hand went all swollen. This was all during my first BKFC fight. Instead of pulling out of the fight, I knew that was my one opportunity. So I switched stance during training camp to give my right hand the time to recover. Because obviously, and I made my power hand my left, so I went southpaw. I used to box as a southpaw when I was a kid. And then they turned me to orthodox a bit later on, you know, for their own. It's easier for the pad man if everyone boxes the same, you know. But anyway, so yeah, it's really helped me actually because I realised that I'm better as a southpaw.
Wow, that's amazing. Anyway,
talk about my hands. So their hands are conditioned nicely from those tyres that I was punching. And then I moved on to wooden pallets. So imagine how hard your hands must feel to punch through pallets of wood. You know, like, see you've got a Boog tattoo there, the pit bull dog.
Yeah, that's it. You remember Boog?
Yeah, I got a Boog on my leg actually, little dog.
Yeah, that man passed away from cancer, I think. He was very, very, very well known.
Yeah.
You know, the Chicano kind of style.
Yeah.
The Flash, the Boog Flash.
Yeah, world famous.
Yeah, I love this stuff, but you know.
Well, he done well, didn't he, to know like I can recognise your tattoo and say Boog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, straight away.
So yeah, you've got your own style of tattooing. It's this super realistic, colourful.
Yeah. It always tends to change a bit over the years. You know, I never get comfortable in one, you know, method. I always try and strive to try new things, to get better. At one point, I was losing myself in the detail, and now I'm trying to still have detail but simplified, and you get more work done in a day, and you know, longevity of tattoos. And
some of that stuff you've done was crazy with like the Indian fellas with the most detailed beards and stuff like that, you know?
yeah, I enjoy those kind of stuff.
Amazing, yeah.
So what do you believe sets bare-knuckle fighting apart from any other combat sports? What makes it so unique?
It's just exciting right now, you know. I like the circular ring in the BKFC, and people's attention is like less and less, you know, like for boxing now, you know, long-winded, and even MMA when it goes to the floor, and you know, people just haven't got the attention span, you know. With the BKFC, it's so exciting. Do you know what I mean? Like, can't blink. You know, it's just brutality.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, who would you say is obviously Lorenzo Hunt? That man is an absolute beast.
Yeah.
And then there's
Mike Perry.
Mike Perry, King of Violence.
King of
Man,
Violence.
I like Mike Perry.
Yeah, he's actually a friend of mine. I mean, he's more difficult to get hold of now, but I mean, we talk on Instagram, and I've met him in person quite a few times. I've even done a bit of training with him.
That's amazing. How would you say is his training routine? Is it you find it, you know, pretty? You used to that kind of training, well, obviously, or are they a bit more intense?
I did some just private training with Mike in a hotel gym, but I mean, I trained with some people that he trained with in America, guys that he's taught him how to box, actually, you know. Well, they said they did anyway. Mike's been boxing all his life. He was an MMA fighter with great balance, and he had a great right hand. He's made for the bare-knuckle world.
Absolutely. I mean, there's many guys that went like Eddie Alvarez, and I think he said, it's a different game completely.
Eddie Alvarez had a bit of success catching Mike, but Mike said recently on one of his videos that at the end of the second round, he did a shoulder thing, and he just said, "Oh, I've got you now," like he's realised his range.
Yeah.
You know, and then Eddie Alvarez didn't come out for the next round, you know, because he quit.
Yeah.
He'll probably never get the opportunity to fight Mike again, you know. That was it. You get one chance.
Wow. What do you reckon of that Michael Venom Page?
Oh, great fight, yeah. I mean,
lethal striker, isn't he?
Me and him had beef, you know.
Really?
You want to hear about this?
Yeah.
So after the Mike Perry fight at Wembley, I went backstage to congratulate Mike. I was elated. In fact, I was one of the few people in the Wembley Arena which was rooting for Mike Perry. I mean, so much so I lost my voice in the 6th round. You know, they had a final eliminator. I was like, "Kill the snake! Kill the snake!"
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go into the medical room and I go, what was he said? London Bridge is falling down, platinum Mike Perry, yeah? MVP is falling down, platinum Mike Perry. And next thing you know, Snake Boy, MVP, is talking, what you saying? What you saying like that? Oh shit, he's in there, you know what I mean? And he's like, come here, bruv, come here. And he's obviously angry, emotional, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, look, man, I didn't mean nothing by it, you know?
Yeah.
But, I thought a little while afterwards, when I got my shot in the BKFC, I called him out. I said, "Hey, Snake Boy, I'm here. You know, I'll meet you at middleweight." I thought that could be an opportunity for me to fight him. If he hates me that much, but obviously he's a star and I'm not a star. And normally, it's a high
risk.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm lucky to get this fight against Danny Christie, because he's a star, you know. And I've only had one fight in the BKFC, so I've taken an elevator to the top to get this, you know. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity that I've got.
It's amazing, man. I'm sure you're going to give it everything you have.
Exactly, yeah.
You've got to. How's the tattoo feeling so far?
Oh, it's lovely. It's one of the least painful places to get a tattoo, I must say.
Yeah, the shoulder, you pretty good.
One of the most painful tattoos I ever had was on my shin bone after doing a K1 fight when it was all bruised already.
Oh man.
It was horrible.
What made you get it tattooed there? After the fight?
Yeah, just time really. It's like, if I was available, you know.
So that's where you wanted the tattoo anyway, to begin with. And
yeah.
Do these fighters get paid more in BKFC than other fight organizations? Obviously boxing is probably the highest paid, I would imagine.
It's very...
If you are well known, like...
I can't talk for the well-known world champions, but I know that Platinum Mike Perry's in a league of his own when it comes to money. He's the star. He's got good management, and you know, he's making millions.
He looks like he fits in better in the BKFC than he did in UFC.
Yeah, that's right. And he's the only UFC fighter to leave the UFC and make more money.
Wow. I mean, then you have Conor, who's an exception, but people want entertainment. You know, if you're just a quiet fighter and you're very kind of behaved and, you know, then it's like people don't really know about you.
No, yeah.
You know, you go unnoticed and also your paycheck don't really
reflect
it, you know what I mean? So, unfortunately, people do want a show and like entertainment, and that's what they want. And if you want to make it big, I think you got to kind of do something to stand out from the rest.
Yeah. Mine was the forest. And working with a shadow boxer, believe that.
Yeah, the shadow boxer, big up.
My performance alone on the BKFC wasn't enough to elevate me. What elevated me was my profile of going to the forest and going with a shadow boxer.
I loved it, man. That video, the people should see it, where it's like in the misty mountains.
Yeah.
What time of day was it? It looked early in the morning.
Yeah, 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, right, okay.
But it was in the misty mountains on
the
cold, it was a February.
What happened to that guy? I think you kind of stepped aside, knocked him, gave him like a little hook, and then he fell, his kneecap moved or something.
Punched his kneecap out, yeah. His name's Knee Whelan.
Yeah. So can you take us through the physical toll that the bare-knuckle fighting has on your body?
Okay, well, the hands... The next day after my fight, I noticed that my little finger was bent. There it is. It's a tendon.
Ah, right.
See that?
Yeah.
So I've met other bare-knuckle fighters and all their fingers are bent like bananas. So just something that happens, your tendons break. And once your tendon snaps on your fingers, you have to put it in a splint to keep it straight. Because it's like a plant, you know, it needs to grow back. But you know, I wore this splint for ages because I didn't want a bent finger. I think it did help it heal, but I couldn't wear a boxing glove for ages. I was sparring with an MMA mitt with my pinky finger out. But that's just one thing, your hands. Then there's the scarring. And in all the combat sports that I've done previously, boxing, K1, MMA, never before have I had teeth problems like I did from getting punched in the mouth with a bare fist. And you know, like Luke Rockhold against Mike Perry, even though he was wearing a mouthpiece, his teeth still split.
Broke his teeth, yeah.
Even though I was wearing a mouthpiece, my teeth felt like they'd been blasted out and they were loose from my mouth, and I had to get them splinted together at the hospital the next day to make sure that, you know, like there's a tooth that's going to fall out, but they splint it to the next tooth to hold it, and then the little hairs inside your gum, they catch the tooth again. I mean, so it's really a brutal sport on your body, you know? So your hands and face, pretty much. The worst I had was a knee to the nose in MMA. Broke my septum, you know, completely shattered it. I've had a nose operation when I retired from boxing. I got back into it now, so just whatever.
And what would you say are some of the misconceptions people have about bare-knuckle boxing that you want to clarify?
Well, it's obviously as safe as normal boxing, otherwise it wouldn't be legal. Okay, David Feldman had to go around and convince people around the world to sanction bare-knuckle fighting in all different states of America. Same as the UFC had this problem, you know, like, and once you say, look, we've got the medical team here, you know, guys are going to get cut, but, you know, it's not... Brain damage is more likely in professional boxing when the rounds are longer and the guys have got gloves on, which gives you more concussion.
Yes,
you know?
I've heard that the gloves that weigh so much kind of do more damage. So, that's why you don't see many MMA fighters die. You know, you see a lot of boxers die.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Is there one place in the world that, what will be your dream, like, come true, you know, one place for you to go and fight at or do a training camp at, or...
Yeah, I was really hoping that I could get a fight in America for the BKFC, like in Miami or somewhere, you know.
Well, that could still definitely happen.
100%, yeah.
Where in Miami, or like which stadium would you want to fight?
Well, they're doing casino fights in, say, for example, I think it's the name of the casinos, the Hard Rock Cafe casinos, nice hotels, and they're selling out regardless of ticket sellers, you know, just the people, the residents staying at the Hard Rock are going. So me necessarily just being an entertaining fighter, they'd have me over. So I like that, just the whole experience of fighting in Florida, for example. Free holiday.
So do these people cover your flights and accommodation?
After I beat Danny Christie, they will.
Yeah.
I mean, I was desperate for an opportunity for the BKFC, even after having one win and being unbeaten. There's more guys coming through. There's more guys that are equal to me that have got one fight, one win. You know, they didn't need to give me a leg up. You know, I was desperate for a leg up, so I went outside the BKFC once again, and it seemed to have worked. I got the traction, and now I've got the leg up.
So what's Danny Christie's record like?
He's unbeaten against UK fighters. He's had one loss against an American, Jared Warren. Now Danny was fighting at a bigger weight division, you know, like, so my debut in the BKFC was at light heavyweight, which is the same weight as which Danny Christie was the champion. But now he's going down to middleweight, which is his natural weight. And it's also my natural weight. So even though we could both fight at light heavyweight, we're always going to be small light heavyweights. So he's relinquished his British title, you know. He's dropped it basically to gain a new title, and that's in the middleweight division. But I want that title too, so he's got to come through me.
So who's currently holding that title?
It's vacant. There's people that have got claims to fight him for it. Men like Bart Kroll, who I'm actually sparring today. He's 3-0 in the BKFC UK.
The guy you're going to spar with?
Yeah. Nice fellow, I've met him, and you know, he's not team Danny Christie, so it's not like he's going to give him any pointers to what I'm doing in the ring, you know. It might help him, I guess, when we come to fight, but I don't know if it will or won't. You know, at the end of the day, it's who deserves it's going to win.
And is there a certain persona you are going for in the fight game, or are you aiming just to be yourself, or is there a certain character or good guy, bad guy that you want to play?
No, I want to be a good guy. I think the shadow boxers help get that across, because next to him, he really puts me over as a good guy, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, there's no alter ego anymore, you know, just like I was in the MMA when I wanted to be hated with the American accent, and, you know, Jimmy Justice, now it's Justice Jimmy. A friend of mine, actually, a guy that I boxed in an unlicensed boxing match, looked up to me as I was a BKFC fighter, and he wanted to do a bare-knuckle fight. You think, well, I've managed to beat Jimmy in a boxing match, you know, maybe I'm good enough to do bare-knuckle, you know? And he went and put himself in a position where he drove up the country to take on someone in a bare-knuckle fight. He won. His next opportunity was to fight in Budapest for this really cool organisation called Vendetta. They put it on shows in Europe. Really cool show. You know, they had big sponsors, crypto sponsors, beautiful belt. They had a 5-round fight for the World Vendetta bare-knuckle boxing title, and he won it. So on his second fight, he's got an amazing experience there, winning a world title in Budapest in a cage. With just an amazing stream it was. You know. But yeah, it definitely inspired him to go on and do that. You know, it just shows you what you can achieve in bare knuckle in such a short period. Like that was his second bare knuckle fight. Same as me with beating Danny Christie, my second bare knuckle fight. You know, it'd be like legendary. You know what I mean? It's like.
So how do you approach your strategy and your tactics in bare knuckle compared to other fighting styles?
Yeah, well, it's important that you've got a good defence in bare knuckle, very important. So reactions, very important. You know, like I can take punches with boxing gloves, but if you take punches with bare fists, then you know your face is going to get cut open. It's going to hinder you.
And how does your family react when they see you come? You know, I mean, some of those fights you're so bruised, even the ones. You know, you won, but you look like a truck hit you full in the face, you know, all swollen, battered and bruised. How does your kids and your missus, how do they feel when they see you, or do they understand it's like all part of it, you know?
Yeah, they understand. To be honest with you, she's very tough, the ex-missus. She probably, I don't know if she enjoyed seeing me get hit, but she certainly didn't express any emotion to my daughter. So my daughter didn't find it scary when she was there. You know, she's just a little girl. Yeah. And, you know, you could see the grimace on her face the next day when I got like purple eyes and stuff, like, oh, daddy. But, yeah, kind of a fighting family. She enjoys boxing, so the kids have been brought up around it.
I bet your son is proud of his dad.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, he certainly got the toughness anyway of his dad. People have commented in the boxing gym saying, oh, your boy's just game, he keeps on coming forward. You know, like he's boxing guys that have got more skill than him, but he's game, you know, he's not crying, where some kids, when they get punched a few times, they start crying, or, you know, they leave the boxing ring crying, you know. My son's tough. Yeah. It's just a great attribute. It's something that you can't teach, and it's the biggest attribute you need in bare knuckle boxing.
You can't teach heart.
Yes, yeah.
Have you ever gotten seriously injured besides your hand from the tires?
I'm not doing the tires anymore. I believe that my knuckles are a condition now. I do a bit of bag training with just wraps on, you know, just to strengthen the hands.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yeah, they're there. I punch the occasional pallet.
And have you ever gotten into any altercations outside of the ring? I mean, clearly as a trained fighter, you will have the upper hand. So have you ever been pushed to your limit or tested your patience where you just walk away instead? Or have you ever let it go and then beat somebody up?
I'm always in control. So like, there's been times where I've basically started the trouble, but I knew that I didn't want to like finish it at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if they're reacting off me, then I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to hurt this dude. You know, like. But there was a time, you know, I threw some fists on the street and I split a guy's eye open, and then I left. I realised I left my baseball cap, and I went back. I said, where's my cap? And he goes, it's under the wheel, like that. So I went under the wheel to get my baseball cap, even though I've just punched this guy and he's holding his eye. And then he grabbed a shovel and tried to whack me over the head with a shovel. I blocked it. You know, I had these lumps and bumps. You know, I had a fight coming up actually. And I was thinking, oh man, I've been hit with a shovel and that. But I started it, you know. And plus, so I punched the guy, you know.
Oh man.
They reported my friend, he worked for a maintenance company and he was in his van, like chilling out for the day outside the property. And they grassed him up to the boss of the company, saying, oh yeah, your bloke's just in the van all day. So I went over there and you know, just started giving it to him, you know. Then one of them got a bit mouthy, so I punched him in the tummy, you know, just messing. But then he reacted, and then I had to beat up his friend.
But here in England, it seems, people can very, very easily go to prison.
Definitely, yeah.
In South Africa, the cops, they kind of, I think if both people, if nobody wants to press charges, I've seen this personally, they just tell you, listen, go your separate ways or whatever, and then you go. But here in England, I think even if nobody wants to press charges, I think if they see you or...
Yeah, that's why people are going over to Ireland to do bare-knuckle boxing, because in Ireland it's not illegal to fight on the grass or in the forest as long as two men are both like consenting doing it this proper way,
And what happens if somebody dies? Is that person still kind of innocent?
I don't know. I don't know the Irish law. I just know that the police will stand there and watch it if it's fair.
Okay.
Right there, boys. We've got a fair fight here.
Is there many of the gypsies and travellers who's also looking to take part in these organisations, or do you think they still exclusively keep it more underground?
Yeah, they exclusively keep it more underground. Tony Giles, he had a shot at the BKFC. I don't know what happened there, but he didn't manage to get his fight on at Wembley, but he would have been a gypsy fighting on the BKFC.
Okay.
So me and Tony fought in UK1 on the UCMMA show. Back in the day, we'd become good friends. It was a very good fight between us. He's quite a notorious gypsy fighter. He's actually got a license in a company called 3X Boxing, and they're going into professional and influencer boxing. And he's going to be boxing as an influencer boxer, and he's asked me to join him. And he's got me a fight set up against an American, which I met on a movie set called Warrior Island, the Viking Samurai.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And that's going to be on the 17th of August at the O2 in London.
Are you actually going to fight that guy?
Yeah, I am, yeah. Hopefully, if he...
Is he a legit fighter?
No, he's a wannabe, like he's a movie star and he wants to manifest himself a fight against Jake Paul. He's doing his best, what can I say?
Yeah.
But, hey, I've manifested Danny Christie, maybe he's going to manifest Mike Perry.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. So what do you reckon about these fighters, like the YouTube fighters, and do you think it's a good idea? Do you think someone's still going to get hurt really badly?
No, I mean, if you put in the work, which they clearly do, if you look at Jake Paul's career, they work as hard as the next man. So what if they're an influencer? They're still they're training. They're just making a lot of money prematurely. Like I know professional boxers which have got 12-0 undefeated records. They're amazing boxers. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
These guys can just come in from being an influencer and make more money than they can, and they haven't even got half the skill.
So do you think it's a good idea, Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson?
I'd love to see Mike Tyson beat him, but to be honest with you, it's not really. I don't think that Mike Tyson can, after 2 rounds, I think he's knackered,
Yeah, I mean, there's, the man's walking with a cane and whatever. He's probably taking some things to help him enhance, his performance and whatever. But he's double his age,
Like Tommy Fury's done well in boxing, considering, he's not even good enough to be a British champion at light heavyweight, yet he's made more money than a lot of world champions.
Yeah, I think a lot of that came also from fighting KSI and Jake Paul. But as soon as Jake Paul fought somebody, who's his same age,
yeah, exactly.
And he kind of, then he just lost, But I mean, fighting, it looks good for him fighting all these fighters, but they're not boxers, like.
I was over in Florida at Christmas time and I went to watch Jake Paul fight at a very small casino compared to his last arenas that he's fought at. And it was in Orlando. And he knocked the guy out in the first round. You know the fight I'm talking about?
Did Jake Paul?
Yeah, Jake Paul, I was ringside and it was pretty cool. So how's your diet, Dean? When do you eat?
Look, I've been on so many diets, right? And I'll tell you what, I've not done the whole thing where I cut down, for my length, 179, so 5'11" inches.
Yeah.
and I've gone down twice to about 68 kilos and 70 kilos. Way too light for me. I look ill.
Yeah.
I'm 76 kilos now.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I prefer to eat like 3 big meals a day.
Yeah.
I don't really believe that eating 6 meals, whatever, speeds up your metabolism. I think it's a story, bullshit.
Sure.
But I'm not a nutritionist, so we'll probably have nutritionists leaving the 2 cents on
If you
there.
want any food later, I can make you some in my van. I've got some eggs and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're safe, you're hungry.
Avocado.
We can take a break,
no,
whatever.
I'm not hungry now.
I normally I prepare food, I bring it with, basic, I try and keep it healthy, you know, not eat processed sugar and all that shit. What about your diet? What do you mainly eat? Do you find it expensive or do you
I
eat
go
organic?
to Waitrose and buy a lot of the whoopsie stickers, you know. So I got some beef mince yesterday. It's high welfare, yeah. For like £1.50, but it's normally £4.50. So I'm getting a good discount by buying it like that, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of food that I'm eating, like mince, eggs, butter, like carnivore sort of high fat.
Yes, high fat. What about carbs?
Avocados, yeah, a bit of bread, a bit of soda bread or sourdough.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you want to build muscle, would you up your carbs and all that, or would you still stick to just high fats and protein?
Yeah, high fats and protein.
So you don't believe you need loads of carbs, like a kilogram of rice a day to build muscle?
No, but if I wanted to look big, like blow up, I'd just eat a load of bread. Yeah, I'd put on kilos.
Donuts. Have you? I'm sure you've heard of that Robbie. He was doing also these fights, and what's that guy?
Robbie
Deca.
Brown. Robbie Brown.
He beat that Deca who was 19 stone, and he was about 11
I just watched
stone,
Robbie Brown fight in the BKFC.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's also in the BKFC, isn't he?
He's a good showman actually. He come out with a pink hat and pink shorts, and he's a skilled fighter.
Yeah,
definitely.
he looks super dedicated as well. Have you ever been approached by an organisation like King of the Streets or?
I haven't, no. Actually.
I don't know really of.
I think you have to approach them really, but.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I've seen before. They said if you think you can beat the guys on the roster, then kind of get in touch. But man, that takes a lot.
Funny
I
enough,
think any man's step in the ring is a winner already.
Have you seen Simon Savage from King of the Streets? He's a big Danish guy. He's a beast.
I'm not sure.
They offered me to fight him on the BKFC, and I said, he's too heavy. I said, I want, because I was too light to be a light heavyweight anyway, and this guy was like a cruiserweight, you know.
Right.
And I said no to him, you know, even though that was my opportunity or whatever.
But still, you don't want to really put yourself in harm's way like that.
Yeah.
You got to have some brains to it, you know. You can't just say yes to anything thrown your way.
Good old Andrew Bakewell, who's providing the best fights for Jimmy Justice. Simon the Savage. He's beatable guy. He said to me it was a good fight for my profile to beat him, you know, with his followers.
Yeah.
Saying that, I prefer to fight Simon the Savage than Danny Christie. Do you know what I mean? But then Danny Christie's, you know, I can't not fight Danny Christie, you know what I mean? This opportunity presents itself. It's like for all the marbles.
Have you found yourself getting, you know, falling more in love with the sport than you have ever before? Or you're getting, I don't think you're getting to a point where you're like tired of it now, are you?
Nah, it's not the destination, it's the journey. You know?
Yeah.
It's a great feeling of self growth, expansion, you know?
And do you mix up your martial arts? Do you try martial arts from all different styles? Or is it mostly sticking to boxing, or do you...
I've been varying a bit of kung fu with my fighting style. Right. A bit of Jeet Kune Do.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
What a legend. My mom was in love with that guy. He was a crush.
Yeah. when I was in America in the summer just gone, I trained with some martial arts guys, and one of them was Ron Van Cleef. Now, he was a really inspiring guy to meet. He was 80 years old, and he got a great physique, strong, full of physicality still. I did a front double bicep with him, and he looks great. 80. So I'm 40. He's 40 years older than me, a whole lifetime ahead of me.
Wow.
And he's in good shape. And yeah, he taught me some of the kung fu stuff that Bruce Lee taught him.
That's
on
crazy.
the you know, the kung fu dolls that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that? You know that wooden thing with the poles, and
That's
then
it. That's what we was doing. Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to buy myself one of them actually.
What is the idea behind that? Blocking, openings.
Yeah,
what's
blocking, opening, striking. Yeah. And conditioning your arms and stuff, you know, for the strikes. He was talking about this style of fighting called the matrix. So you hit them with 3 different attacks at one time. So it's difficult to block. So you'd be like coming with like a punch to the body, a punch to the head, and like a kick to the body also. Or it's, you know, like the matrix, you know, just.
But then also make sure there's power behind it.
Yeah, yeah, there is, yeah.
Well, it can be a good distraction as well. Kick the shin and then.
That's right, yeah. That's it, yeah. That's the matrix.
Some sand in the eyes. Have you ever fought someone who fought really dirty?
Yeah. Jules Loftus in Scotland. He headbutted. He got disqualified. But I didn't care, you know, like he wanted to get disqualified. He was doing it because he knew he was going to lose.
Yeah.
So, you know, he wanted to get in there and he wanted to be the cage fighter, but he knew when the pressure was on and he could feel my power, my skill. He was like, I'm going to lose, you know. How do I get out of this without, you know, getting beaten, because I was going to tear him apart with my boxing, you know. Even though it was MMA, he was a stand-up fighter, so he didn't have the skills to get me to the floor. So
yeah, desperate times.
But he used to brag about being, you can check him out on YouTube, his name's Jules Loftus. That's Jules with a Z. And he brags about being a dirty fighter, and it's got like videos of him like putting his thumb in people's eyes and
Jeez.
just biting and headbutting.
So is he still fighting?
No, he's not, no. Jules the Bulls Loftus. And I used to troll him a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
I did a movie in the summer called Warrior Island. That's where I met the Viking samurai. That's I played a fighter, an MMA fighter, and so it sort of brought my family back together. I've been through a lot this year, you know what I mean? I can't say it's not been. It's me just talking about myself and the bare-knuckle and that, but I've had a lot to contend with, you know, like my battle with my, you know, being my authentic self, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, it's a hard world, you know, like when
you had to find yourself.
I had to find myself, yeah. Like, it's like I achieved everything I needed to achieve for my family, and then found myself like almost like you've done it, and then, but what are you happy with now? You know what I mean? Like I couldn't even have a cup of coffee. Do you know what I mean? In the house, like she's like, "What are you doing that for?" You know, like I'd sneak off for a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like, and as much as I felt like I wasn't doing anything wrong, it was that sort of toxic relationship. It was like, "Why are you doing that for?" You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do different this time? You know, like, get me apologising for stuff like that. You know what I mean? How it makes you feel when, you know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you always apologise.
Yeah,
it's strange, mate, you know, unless you live that life or whatever, then.
Why is that? Do you think that?
She's just very controlling, mate. She's like, you know, I'm a bit, I don't know, how do I say it?
The thing is, people think, you know, these things can't happen to
men,
fighters or to men.
I know, amazing, yeah. It's
they
amazing.
think, no, man. But there's a lot of, I'm not saying, obviously, you've not been in an abusive physically, but I've known of big men who's been in abusive relationships where the girls would, you know, put their hands on them and stuff, and they kind of, you know, this guy will, yeah, I don't know.
That's
It's
how
a
it
weird
works.
one, man.
It's my love for my family, yeah, and her position of power, yeah, to say, look, you know, you have to come to me, you know, like, and you're in the doghouse now, and when you're in the doghouse, you know, that, you know, you can feel you're in the doghouse, you know, and then how do you get out of the doghouse, you know, you have to be on your best behaviour, you know, and that's how they condition you for a long time, and you end up having anxiety, because you think, oh, she won't like that, I don't want to upset her, and you live with this anxiety and that, you know, and it just ain't right, because like, I'm a free spirit, you know, and you know, someone's controlling your life and, you know, judging you, oh, it's right for you to sit down and get a tattoo and that, you know, while I'm at work, you know, like, you're a dosser, you know, like, do you know what I mean? And you're doing a podcast, oh, how is that helping your kids? Do you know what I mean? Like, just lots of stuff, you know, she wasn't supportive to me chasing my dreams or being myself, or, you know, like, but then as soon as I got a movie opportunity to go to America, you can bet that she wanted to come along, you know what I mean? Or when I was going to my movie premiere, you know, it's almost like when I do succeed or whatever, like, I don't believe that she wants me to succeed, you know what I mean? I believe that she'd like me to fail, you know, so she could be like, oh, I told you so, you know? And it's sort of, it'd be sweet, you know, to get her to see me succeed in something that I am passionate about. She used to rip into me why I haven't got my own plumbing business. You know, why don't you put all that effort you put into your... I'm promoting myself as a fighter, yeah? Promoting myself so much, yeah, that I've got a fight against Danny Christie, yeah, the biggest star in the UK BKFC. I did that after one fight, through promoting myself, yeah, through something I'm passionate about, okay? But she wanted me to promote a plumbing business. Yeah, why? It's not my passion.
You got to do what makes you happy at the end of the day.
Anyway, the universe supports me and my dream. Do you know what I mean? It's not gonna... I can manifest a plumbing job. It won't work. It won't. I tried, believe me. I was once in my kitchen trying to manifest a job on a building site, mate. You wouldn't believe, yeah? And, you know, that's the sort of man that I was, you know what I mean? I just wanted my family life to be working, you know, but it can't work if you're not yourself, you know what I mean? I don't drink, but then I can still have a drink, you know what I mean? There's a difference between having a drink and getting drunk, you know? Like, but, you know, when you say, oh, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Oh, you tried to put blame on something. Oh, it was alcohol. It was coffee, you know? I mean, I'm just me, you know? I'm not saying I am reactive, you know, so if you piss me off, I guess, you know, I'm the type to swear and let it out, you know. So
especially with drink, I think drink brings out the worst in people, and you know, I mean, obviously not saying the drink made you do this or that.
No, it's not good for anyone.
I don't advocate domestic abuse in either way, women, men on each other or whatever. But sometimes two people are just not good together.
Well, listen,
and
if I'm asleep,
the alcohol makes it even worse. You know what I mean?
If I'm asleep drunk on a couch and I just want to go to sleep and you're trying to kick me out.
Yeah, of course, people are going to react.
Where am I going to go to? Do you know what I mean? I just, you know, fuck off, leave me alone. You know, you're sick, you're drunk, you know, and someone's trying to like throw you out of the house for what? For having a drink. I'm a grown man, you know.
That's the time I think just gave up drink. I mean, I've been in the UK, I think 4 months maybe that time, and then just quit. And 6 years, more than 6 years sober. I'll never go back drinking.
No, I don't even have one now. I used to have like the occasional Guinness and stuff, but
yeah. Maybe after a fight, you know, what better than having a good old Guinness?
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
ice cold Guinness.
After I beat Danny Christie, I didn't even have a Guinness in Ireland. Didn't feel like I deserved one, you know.
Oh really?
No.
Even after you won, what did you think of your performance?
Yeah, not good, but that's helped me get this fight, I guess.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the fight go on a bit more if his knee didn't give out or whatever.
To be honest with you, I didn't warm up. I just come out the car and I was a bit cold and I was a bit comfortable as well because I knew he couldn't hit me because he didn't have the footwork. You know, boxing is footwork, you know.
Yeah. Did you do some research in this guy before you fought him?
No, when he was in front of me, could tell by the way he was holding his feet, you know. I thought there's no way this guy's going to hit me, you know what I mean? He can swing, but he's not going to catch me. But then I should have been planting my feet and then throwing after he swung, you know, and that's how I would have got a knockout. But what I did, it was kind of cool, you know what I mean? I check hooked him, you know, I sort of countered him. I punched him on the back of the head and you can clearly see his head go poof, and then he's on the ground. There's more comments as well, people saying, oh, you punched him in the back of the head. I quite enjoyed that. I like the video that I made. That's what it was all. I went there to make a video, you know, to get some content.
And it's things like that also not allowed in, you know, these bare-knuckle fights, these underground fights, like punching behind the head and...
Well, to be honest with you, it was a pretty clean fight. I mean, I'm a good BKFC boxer, as in I like to use the clinch, or if it presents itself. And there was times that we were clinched up and I broke because I didn't want to rough him up too much in front of his mates, because they wouldn't have been ready for that sort of violence, if you know what I mean. Because let's face it, there's boxing and then there's BKFC. So boxing's kind of clean, BKFC, you're allowed dirty boxing. So, you know, if you come to support your mate and all of a sudden his opponent's grabbing him by the head and pummeling him with uppercuts, you'll be like, what's going on? This is supposed to be a boxing match. It's like, but, you know,
this is murder.
I was in his backyard, so I was very controlled, you know. But if I would have been in a cage, for example, where I couldn't have been set upon, you know, it would have been a bit different, you know. Because it would have felt more like at home, like I will do in the BKFC circle, you know.
Have you ever tried any psychedelics before a fight or something to, you know, like Adesanya said he went to finally beat Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
He said he microdosed and it just to kind of...
Oh wow, that's quite an interesting...
Yeah, it's, you know, I think after losing every time you're desperate, but you'll try anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of fighters. I think GSP, George St. Pierre said, I think he microdosed.
Yeah, I might try a training session.
I don't want to tell you to go and do drugs.
You could try it sparring or whatever, you know, see what that's like.
Yeah. I don't know if you do it straight while you're going to fight, but maybe, you know, leading up to the fight, I've heard fighters, you know, microdose.
Maybe the day before would be pretty cool, yeah.
Like, you don't want to be beyond yourself, but just kind of maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of studies they say now they want to look into magic mushrooms helping people with like depression and all that sort of stuff.
I did some magic mushrooms quite recently. I had a really nice time.
How did you have some?
Yeah, I mean.
Where did you get it? Pick it yourself in the forest?
No, I got some off a friend. They were called Jack Frost, and I ate them on this. I think it was a bank holiday weekend. Yeah. And I'm quite a hyperactive dude, so like, you know, most people would have just chilled and closed their eyes and went off into like a trip place. I was like, wow, walking around, and I was really appreciating nature. I ended up going for a health spa, you know, steam room, sauna, and I was in the steam room and like people looked like they had 3 arms and legs, and I was kind of giggling to myself, and I was like closing my eyes and going off into like this, you know, trippy sort of place in my imagination. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. But I gave my friend, I downsized the dose that I was giving it to him, like almost like he was doing a microdose, and I gave him like a 3-gram shroom, which is enough to send him off. Yeah. And he just munched it, and he was like KO'd. He was down the beach, and he went in his camper.
I think I saw a video of something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he was laying there in the van.
That's him. Yeah. Fun. So,
and do they test the fighters for like steroids and things like that?
No, they don't. So yeah, I'm sure that you could be a steroid user in the BKFC if you wanted to be.
And what would you say is a natural way of boosting your testosterone for men who's a bit wary or they don't want to mess with their hormones? So say if they want a natural, I've heard spinach, eating raw spinach, things like that.
Saunas, regular saunas. Yeah. Ice baths. Maybe fasting, because when you break a fast, when you're on a fast, your testosterone levels are lower, but when you break fast, when you start eating again, after fasting, they come back higher. So there's lots of there's lots of different stuff that I think that you could do to boost your testosterone. Stuff that you can have in your diet, like ginger root.
Mm-hmm.
But myself, I'm using a product called Afanase. It's a 16 superfood complex. If you follow me on Instagram, the link's on my bio. So that's Beetroot King.
I'll have to check that out.
The product Afanase, and it's really good for well-being. And I feel great.
So with your diet, I know you say it's kind of like carnivore, you know, animal, high-fat, protein. Yeah. What about vegetables? I know there's some people who don't eat vegetables at all.
Yeah,
they believe it's bad for you. Like
I've heard that too. Yeah.
You know, they say spinach give you kidney stones, and
that's right.
But there's so many people. You know, it's very contradicting. Like one person says this, and the next professor says the exact opposite. You don't know who to believe.
Try to have a varied diet, you know. Sometimes I have pasta, I have carrots regularly, I have broccoli regularly, I have beetroot.
I think that's a good way of looking at it. Just have a balanced diet. Don't cut anything out completely.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of dairy or cheese. Have some meat, have eggs, have your vegetables. Bit of oats, you know. I know people say oats is full of glyphosates, and it probably is. I mean, I don't know, organic ones also apparently.
I've cut out oats from my diet this year.
Yeah.
I look better for it.
Yeah, that's good then. Can you feel it in your gut?
Yeah.
How's the tattoo feeling?
Yeah, lovely. It's a pleasure.
That's good.
Real professional. Gentle.
So, how do you choose your cornermen? Like, are they fighters themselves or friends?
My friend, my brother, my trainer, a guy who's like spiritually prepared me for my last one. He spiritually prepared me by telling me on the way to the arena, he said that throughout any uncertainty, you know, you're going to win. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you have to ride the waves of uncertainty. That was his like pre-fight speech, you know. So there was never a moment in the fight which I didn't believe that I was going to win, you know. So even if I was down losing, but I was hurting, you know what I mean. But I knew that I was going to win, you know. And it was a great feeling, you know what I mean, if I can have that same mindset again, you know. Because imagine, boom, you get cut, yeah, negativity, oh, I've been hit, you know, oh, he's landing on me, oh, I'm down or whatever, you know, I'm getting beat, you know, like, that's negative, I'm getting beat, I'm losing, you know what I mean. No, in your head, you've got to believe, you know what I mean, no, I'm winning, I'm going to win. Don't ignore all this is just waves of uncertainty, you know what I mean. I'm riding through these, I'm winning, you know what I mean. And your vision's got to be clear, you know what I mean. So I believe that he helped me with that a lot, you know what I mean. Like, and he's there for me now, you know what I mean. We're training together, and he's giving me great advice about the fight, and he believes in me. I believe in him.
That's really
in fact,
important.
I was his first person he'd ever cornered. So instead of being like, oh, you know what, this is the biggest fight of my life, I want someone with all this experience. I was like, no, I want this man. I want to give him all this experience, you know what I mean? I want him, this is his opportunity, you know what I mean?
That's really good, man.
And it gives him some purpose as well, because he's in recovery. And he really enjoys having some purpose, you know? It's a passion of his. He trains not only me, but he also trains his son. And his son will be a world champion boxer. I can believe that, yeah.
Was his son the boy who walked out with your son?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Oh man, he had some good, he came out
Jacob O'Sullivan, yeah, Jacob O'Sullivan.
Yeah, he looks like he's got some skill, eh?
Yeah, but it's his mindset as well, you know, it's his passion, his dream, and his dad's guiding him, you know. He's going to have like so much experience about, you know, training, and, you know, he's going to be a different sort of man than, you know, a lot of the kids that he's going to be fighting, you know, just because of how hard he trains and works, and, you know, maybe his manifestation powers as well, you know. I mean, he draws himself as a champion, you know, with the WBC belt around his waist, you know. How's that for visualization, you know? You got to talk about yourself as you see yourself, and one day that will be yourself. You know, he's got a clear vision, you know what I mean? And like, that's all Patrick does, his work, and he dreams as well of him and his son, you know, where his son being the world champion, that's his destiny, that's his goal, you know what I mean? That's That's his manifestation. I mean, if I left bare-knuckle boxing tomorrow after that thrilling fight that I had originally in the BKFC, I've done what I needed to do to prove to my son, you know, what a man's made of, you know, and there's your example, don't quit when the going gets tough. But now is an opportunity for me to, you know, put a cherry on the top and put myself right at the top of the UK best bare-knuckle fighters. So this is a great opportunity. I can't not take it with both hands. And it also put me in a position of, you know, I have that star, be the BKFC star of the UK. So I need this victory, you know, to progress. Otherwise, it's just, you know. But it's like I'm not even talk about losing. You know what I mean? You just have to be positive and believe in yourself, even if like other people. I might be the underdog going in this fight. In fact, I know I am. If you asked everyone who's going to win out of Jimmy and Danny, I think everyone's going to pick Danny Christie over me. But the only person who's going to pick myself is myself, you know what I mean? And the people that believe in me, you know?
Yeah, you got to believe in yourself. So, tell me, how was your childhood growing up? Like, your dad, was he in your life, your mom?
Yeah, I was very lucky to have a dad that was in my life up until I was the age of 33 when my dad passed away, and he was at the age of 56.
Oh, young.
He left my mum when I was 12 years of age, which is the same age that my son is now. And I was going to secondary school, and it was quite disruptive on my family. It left my brothers, left me like as the man of the house, really, you know. My mum was drinking, and, you know, my dad, he'd found a new woman, which things didn't work out with him, but my mum had moved on, and there was a lot of disruption, you know, emotional stuff. I always grew up with what I realised to grow up with as an alcoholic father, you know. He used to take me to the pubs a lot. He lived in the pubs, you know. Come on, Dad, time to go home. Oh, one more, you know. I'd be playing in the beer garden and, you know, checking the seats for a pound coin or whatever, you know, like. He was an alcoholic. And then when I was a teenager, I realised that my dad was an alcoholic. So I went working with him on a building site to earn some money. And he had the shakes, you know.
Oh,
and he's drinking a bottle of 2020 for like it's fruit juice, you know, it's the strong alcohol mix. But yeah, so to grow up with an alcoholic dad is it's kind of sad, really, because you know that it's a disease, an addiction, you know. He had a time when he was clean for about 4 years, and then he went back on the alcohol. But it didn't end well for him, you know. He ended up having a head injury due to being drunk. He fell off his balcony, his second floor balcony, where he was left like, after he come out of a coma, he was a bit like brain damaged, if you know what I mean. Like he had it's called brain injury. And that slowed him down. He lost his physicality, and at age 56, when he died, he was in his flat drinking a bottle of neat vodka every day. And his body was really, you know, at 56 years of age, some guys that look after himself, incredible specimens, you know what I mean, like, that don't drink alcohol, that eat the right foods, you know what I mean, and then you can get a man like my dad who had the physicality, he used to have a body like this or whatever once upon a time, just through working, you know, just good genetics, but you know, through drinking alcohol and that poison, it destroyed him, you know, and in fact, to see him pass away at that age or whatever, I was almost like grateful that he didn't end up in a nursing home. You know what I mean? Because you think he's going to be a burden to me or whatever. You know what I mean? Like through this, and he had it's a funny thing. He had like life insurance that expired like maybe 6 months before he actually passed away. An endowment is called. Not that they would want that, but I mean, like, you know, he defied science, you know what I mean, the way he used to drink and treat his body and stuff, and there's people out there that want to live desperately, you know what I mean, mothers that die of cancer, and, you know, you got my dad, he was just, you know, he was on a one-man mission to self-destruct, you know. That's a painful thing to grow up with, you know. But yeah, we carry with that, say a sadness, and, you know, it's nice to talk about it, you know. Probably, you know, there's a big fire inside me, you know what I mean, like from my childhood. That's probably why my missus used to get so much from me because she deals with people that from similar backgrounds. You know, we're not wired up right because of the trauma we have when we're kids. You know, like.
Do you think that's where the drive comes to show your son, like, to never give up and to be an example of a good dad?
Yeah, I mean, my dad raised me to be fearless, you know. He was very important while I was growing up, you know. He used to call me a faggot or a puff, you know, like, you know, make me violent and aggressive, you know, like, and when I grew up as a man and I used to be in nightclubs and stuff, you know, I used to feel like very confident, you know what I mean, like, I'll hit them, I'll be violent first, you know what I mean, like, you know, like, and I used to think, like, I feel sorry for guys that probably weren't as capable, you know what I mean, and then, so I've always felt very capable. Imagine, like, violence is just like a switch, you know, I can just, like, you know, like, if I wanted to do debt collecting, if I wanted to hurt somebody, if I wanted to just, you know, rob somebody, or if I wanted to be violent, it's just so easy, you know what I mean, like, but yeah, I'm a nice, caring person or whatever, but, you know, like, I'll give you an example. So my dad was disabled, and he was hanging around with another guy who was disabled, and there was this guy that was bullying. You know, my dad had his physicality anymore, and he told me, oh yeah, this guy's going around bullying my friend, and if he calls you, can you go around there and sort him out? So I said, yeah, I'll do that. So this guy's gone around there, he's a bully or whatever, and they've called me, and he's left the door ajar, and I've just gone in there, he sat on the couch, this bloke, and I said, yeah, you want to bully these men, yeah? And just just wasted them, you know what I mean? Like, and I remember my dad looking at me like, you know, like, as if, you know, he was almost a bit surprised in that, you know, but that's, yeah, so I guess when you're capable of violence, like, but it doesn't mean you're a violent person, it just means that you're capable of it, you know?
Yeah. And have you got involved in a bit, you know, on the wrong side of the law?
Sorry, I'm a bit uncomfortable. It's what beast you feed in it or whatever, you know, like love and darkness and, you know, like I used to be on the wrong side of the law. I used to want to manifest me robbing factories of weed and stuff like that, you know, that's what I used to like think about, you know what I mean, like, because that same courage that it takes to go in the BKFC circle, you know, it's just as easy to kick a door down and run in and not care who's in there, you know, and if they are in there, which they have been on occasions, you know, then you've got two choices, you either leave or you can, you know, take control of the situation, you know. Like, oh, you, sit down, or you're getting robbed now, you know?
Yeah.
And I got off on that once, actually. I was robbing somebody and they, you know, I didn't even have any weapons, just my fists and that, you know? And I was just taking these guys' plants, you know, just because, but that's what I put out there in the universe, you know, that's what I wanted. Yeah. I wanted that negativity, you know what I mean?
But now you don't want that.
No, I don't want anything to do with it. No, positive, you know, love, karma, you know, what goes around comes around. Yeah. You know, abundance, you know, just because life was unfair to you doesn't mean that you have to be unfair to other people, you know.
You've got to break the cycle somewhere.
Healing, you know what I mean? So I've had a big spiritual journey, you know what I mean? Like, I guess, you know, it's hard to love yourself when you don't feel deserving or worthy, you know. Yeah. And it takes time for you to, you know. That's why Jesus, he was the greatest example to escape the wheel of karma, you know, to keep on coming back to this life, which I believe in reincarnation and that, you know. Is if you follow the Bible and you follow the teachings of Jesus, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you can't go wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, to have love in your heart and stuff, you know. And do you know what? If you called me now, Dean, and said, oh, the shop next door, the barber shop next door, yeah, they're growing tons of weed, I can smell it, I can hear it, you know. It's there, you know what I mean? I'm not interested, honestly. Yeah. Because it's got nothing that I don't even want the money.
Did you just rob it to smoke it yourself or to sell it?
No, just to sell it on, yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, I don't know why I picked cannabis factories. I just
probably because they can't go to the police.
Easy. A lot of them, they were. To be honest with you, I didn't want to hurt people, so most of the time they were they were unmanned, you know?
Yeah.
You'd kick a door down and just cut the trees down. But it's not that easy to know when it's ready. And there was times, I could tell you some funny stories actually. There was a great one that my brother put an iPhone in the back of his mate's car. His mate's now passed away, but his mate was dealing with a guy who was a grower, and he was talking, saying, oh yeah, I go around there and I trim the plants, and he's got 2 rooms, one for vegetative, one for flowering. And my brother Mickey was clever. He put an iPhone in the back of his car, hid it under the seats. The next day, he went find my iPhone, got the location, shared the location with me. He said, look, it's ready, it's been trimmed. That's the screenshot of where he was. So I go there, go to the gaff, go around the back, kick the door in, and there it is, like fucking 10 kilos of weed, you know? A lot of shit, you know what I mean? Like,
jeez.
A lot of decent money, you know? Like, and already it couldn't have been easier, you know? In fact, it was already in these big boxes, these huge Tupperware boxes, already trimmed, the best weed, you know?
Yeah. Did they know it was you?
Well, funny enough, someone else got misidentified.
Right.
Because I went back a second time because I used my brain and thought to myself, well, I don't have to cut the guy in this time. I know where the address is. I know he's got another room for vegetative. So that means if I go back there in 8 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever, it's going to be ready and dried out again, you know? So I did that. But this time when I went to go through the back door, the guy was in there and he went like that, as in, go whoever, some man in the house. And it was there that he seen me, and then he thought I was somebody else, and somebody else got a kick in or whatever.
Was there never somebody, trying to come after you or know that,
To be honest with you, I used to get off on it, really. I mean, there's plenty of people that probably think, if they have been robbed, they probably think, oh, that must have been me, you know? It's almost like folklore in Bournemouth, you know? If your grow got robbed, oh, is that Jimmy? And you can tell people have been wary of me, you know? That's probably why I've had problems getting employment and things like that, you know? No one wants to give me a chance, I was trying to be a plumber and that, you know? I think, oh, doing anything to do with him. It's just that aura you've got, like... So, yeah, I was like that. I was been out there for years and years, like I was, it's a negative, low vibrational state to be like that, So, yeah, like...
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm not the only person that's gone through this, There's plenty of people that may have started one way in life and then, they find, they see the light eventually,
So did you ever do things like work doors, or you did private debt collecting for people? Have you dabbled in that?
Yeah, private debt collecting.
How did you find that? Was it ever... did you get a kick out of that?
Well, I'll tell you a story. This time that I took these girls to a nightclub in Swanage. They were lap dancers, and we organised our own ladies' night where I was there, private security. And the club owner allowed it to go on, even though he hasn't got a licence for this kind of stuff. Then there was a party afterwards, and this club owner was a Chinese fella called Long. And they're gamblers, aren't they, So he had a bet with the doorman, this South African guy called Richard, and he ended up losing a game of poker and owed him £4,000. Now, if Long had lost the game of poker, the little Chinese man, he would have had to pay. Because it's the big South African man, but Long wants his money. So he said, you can collect it for 50%. So I'm off my nut on cocaine or whatever. I've knocked on his door about 5 a.m. I said, listen, motherfucker, I'm your worst nightmare, yeah? You owe £4,000. If you don't pay it, my jaws will swing in and that. I go, if you don't pay it, I'm going to fucking break your kneecaps. Do you understand, you cunt? Like that. And then it gets better. I shit on the bonnet of his car. Not there and then. I think it was the next day before I left Swanage. I woke up, we drove past. I did a shit on the bonnet of his car. And he's like, dude, did you shit on the bonnet of my car? I was like, yeah, I fucking did. I want that fucking money. Like that. He's like, okay, you're getting it. Next thing you know, he's giving me £2,000 and a Fiat Punto that's all buoyed up, which is worth £2,000 or whatever, and I sold that. So now I've got the £4,000 for Long. So I've made £2,000, and all I've had to do is shit on the bonnet of a car. But Long, this is what a sneaky guy I am. He's asked me to put a bet on a horse for that $2,000. And I'm thinking to myself, well, listen, if that horse loses, then I can keep the $2,000. But if it wins, I'll be in a bit of trouble because I should have put the bet on. But, so what I did, I was quite smart. I didn't put the bet on. And if the bet would have won, I would have said, sorry, mate, I didn't make it to the bookies on time. But fortunately, the bet lost. So I kept the whole $4,000. That's a pretty good story, you know. And I used to love all these stories and out of all this easily made money that I used to get, you know, little cons and stuff, you know, about being dishonest and disreputable and, you know, dysfunctional. And, you know, I'm not even grateful for it, you know what I mean? It's just all life's teachings, you know. I'm grateful for where I am now, what spiritual place I am. I never felt closer to God, you know, than what I do now. More connected to the universe, more grateful. You know, I don't look at people that have got like a Rolex watch and be jealous. Once I did, just thinking, oh, look at him, he's got a like flash watch. I want it, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like now it's just like money, cars, all that stuff. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's my connection with God is what's the most important, you know. It's how I feel in myself, you know what I mean? Like, and if you're jealous of somebody because they've got something materialistic, then, you know, you're not going to get enough of something, you're not going to be blessed, you know?
Yeah, if you hate on people achieving things or they've got nice things, you know, then I do agree. It's almost like you're setting yourself up for never getting it yourself.
Low vibrational, you know?
Yeah, man. So, I remember back in the day, you know, I'd always see, like on your Instagram or whatever, you've got photos with Mike Tyson, with Sylvester Stallone, and all these big celebrities. So how do you pay like a lot of money for VIP?
No, this is a thing. So listen, I've never been rich, but I used to dress like I was pretty wealthy, like Versace shirts. I used to be front row at the UFC fights. I've been to movie premieres in Hollywood with like Sylvester Stallone and Chris Pratt, and you know the places that I've been, the hotels that I've stayed at, the lifestyle that I used to portray on Instagram. You know, it's like it's very easy to make yourself look like you're a celebrity on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Instagram versus reality, you know. But it used to be like a bit of an achievement for me to get my son a photograph with these big people. You know, like Jake Paul, for example. You know. I mean, imagine how cool that is for him to show his mates at school, oh, there's me with KSI, there's me with Jake Paul, there's me with Logan Paul.
Conor McGregor, Mike
but
Tyson.
How do I do it? Well, the Jake Paul, the Logan Paul, that was going to one of Jake Paul's weigh-ins for his fight against Tyrone Woodley. We was on holiday in Tampa in Florida, and I walked with his entourage back to his changing rooms. But the way I walked with his entourage, like I was part of his entourage, that the security just let me straight on through. So next thing you know, I'm in Jake Paul's changing room where he's watching himself on Ariel Helwani's Instagram. I'm fucking you up! I'm fucking you up! And he sat there, he's looking at himself on the phone, and I'm standing there thinking, oh, this is awkward. I just want to get a photograph and leave, to be honest with you. And I go, oh, excuse me, Jake. I thought that's the right time now. He's watched his video he's just made. Excuse me, Jake, I'm from England. This is my son. Can we have a photograph? He's like, oh, yeah, sure, like that, you know. And that is it, you know, like, so I got a cool photo with Jake Paul. He gets a photo with Jake Paul. Anyway, fight night, another fight night. This is Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul. I've just walked into the VIP lounge, past the security, same as I did at the Hollywood red carpet event. The security guy goes, excuse me, can I see your credentials? They're nice, these Americans. I go, oh look, I took it off, mate, I took it off. It's like, oh, okay, you know, like, why'd you take it off, sort of thing, because I was wearing this t-shirt that said, why so serious? And I said, oh, I just didn't look cool with my outfit. Anyway, next thing you know, I've got Steven Espinosa. He's the big CEO of Showtime Sports. He goes, excuse me, sir, what's going on? I said, I took it off. He goes, well, you'd make our lives a lot easier if you just wore them. And he called some guy over and he gave me the VIP pass. So next thing, I've got entry to the VIP bar in the Jake Paul fight. Now, these aren't for sale, I don't think. You're legit VIPs, you know. You've got that Dan Bilzerian. Yeah, he's there, you know, Tarzan, all the biggest YouTubers in the world, you know, like actors, Nate Diaz. You know, everyone, like famous people, and I'm there getting free drinks from the bar, even though I'm not allowed to drink. I'm going to the barman, hit me. I'm having whiskey. But it's funny because when I wasn't allowed to drink, like when I was with my wife, then I'd want to drink, and now I am allowed to drink. I don't, like I don't know.
Yeah, no, you don't want it.
But it does change my personality. I remember when in 2016 when I went to Conor McGregor fight versus Nate Diaz, I went into the changing rooms to meet Conor McGregor, and I got a photograph of him and my son. Brilliant, and got a video of him actually. He does a fist bump with my son. He goes, "Oh, fights off, champ, fights off." And at the end of the night, after Conor had won and that, I went back into the same changing rooms, but my attitude had changed where I've been drinking and stuff, and the security got pissed off with me and that, and I was being a bit mouthy and that, I was afraid to get into the sex industry in the UK because, didn't want it to come back to my kids, but I was thinking, well, I can be a sex worker anywhere. So I started fucking these Polish porn stars.
Would you consider that?
Oh, mate, well, I'm a Leo, aren't I? So it's just like, I'm just like a...
So have you done anything like that?
Only live shows for cucks.
Oh, right.
As a form of payment.
So how awkward is that if... It's hard for me to imagine there's actually people out there.
They'll like pay money to sit in chairs, yeah.
And I find it absolutely bizarre. Like, I think for a person to sit there must be mentally...
I know, yeah.
Something not right.
I know, yeah. Especially if there's their wife and that, they're like, you want to see her get nailed and that,
So
they pay them good money.
You didn't pay for it?
No.
So how did it come about that that you get involved or in a cuckold situation?
Yeah, well, I sort of made it happen, I don't know. I'm just that way inclined. I'm just like, got a deal for you.
How long ago was this, would you say?
Not long ago. About 4 years ago. A few times, man. Like it's different scenarios.
Do you have a bucket list?
Yeah, BKFC was one of them. Now fighting Danny Christie, yeah. So it's all going well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What is one thing on your bucket list that you don't think you'll ever reach? Even though you can do anything you put your mind to, but what is one thing that you kind of think it will probably never happen, but you wish it could?
You know what? Here it is, I'm going to say, I want to be in the movie Expendables, yeah? Like,
Yeah, oh.
Who
knows, man?
Randy Couture, like he's a legend or whatever, absolute legend. Like, he was a UFC fighter, world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd really like to make something of myself, especially through fighting, because all the people that didn't believe in me, all the people that, think that, oh, look at Jimmy, he's going for a midlife crisis, or whatever, Like, my son's 12, okay? It's not my problem that it's not my problem, yeah? He's got all the time. I take him boxing. He's had one-to-one boxing sessions. If it's his passion, then he can't stop that. If it's his light, you know what I mean? If it's his interest, like, he'll be what he's meant to be, you know what I mean? But she used to make me feel bad that I'm not putting in all my effort to making my son the best boxer, as in, at the weekends I'm not travelling the country trying to find him sparring partners, because I'm more interested in myself, yeah? And it is true, I am more interested in fulfilling my own dream in this time that I've got, which I've had, because this has only been going on for a couple of years, the BKFC dream, yeah? I only had a fight a year ago in the BKFC, and, I've still got time. You hit the age of 40, which I am, and that's the time when you think to yourself, well, actually, I haven't got that long left now, you know what I mean? So you've got to do something, And then they try to wrap it up as a midlife crisis, but it's more like clarity. You more realise that, you haven't got all the time in the world, and that you have to, get it done, whatever it is you want to do, you know what I mean? If you've got more things to achieve, then let's do it,
Yeah.
And this is it for me. You know what I mean? I've got this fight is such great opportunity for me to solidify my name in the world of violence.
But you've been on that, what is that film with, what is that guy, Idris?
Oh yeah,
what
cool.
was that called? You've been on that, and then
Luther. I was an extra, and I got a good shot with Idris. And when he's in the jail, he's walking on the jail. He's just like walking on the landing with his stuff, and he walks past me in the canteen, and I'm wearing my vest. I don't know if I got my chain on. No, I wouldn't be allowed my chain, but I made sure that I was wearing a vest because when they cast me to be a prisoner, they tried to cast me as a mature prisoner. So that means my wardrobe would have been like a high-vis vest, you know, like I'm a worker, a gardener. I said, no, I don't want to be a gardener. I want to wear a vest top. I want to be like bad man, yeah. Anyway, like, it's only a little shot of me, but I did get recognised because it's on Netflix, it was trending, and, you know, you can't mistake Idris walks past me in the jail, you know? So that was pretty cool.
I mean,
Oh, I'd love to be in movies, yeah. I've said that. It's always, I don't know, like, what my biggest desire is, you know, to be a famous fighter or to be in the movies, but it's like I work towards being a fighter because it's within my control. With being in movies and stuff, it's like I didn't go to theatre school. I've joined some of these casting agencies and it doesn't seem to make any sense to me, you know, like, I just feel like my face is what's going to get me a part in the movie, you know, like it did in Luther, because I'm a menacing sort of looking guy, you know. So you'd cast me as like, you know, a gangster or something like that, you know what I mean, like a fighter or.
I think it's definitely doable. I mean, it seems that people are very famous. Anyone, even if they're not an actor, Conor McGregor, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, even Dan Bilzerian ended up in movies, you know.
Conor was fantastic in that Roadhouse.
What did you think of his role in the new Roadhouse?
Yeah, it was great. I was a bit disappointed by the fight scenes and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I thought it could have been better. But,
in what sense? What would have made it better?
I think they're all CGI and stuff, you know.
Like when the car reverses and it knocked Jake Gyllenhaal, that looked like very odd to me, like very computerized, you know.
So I've done some fight scenes on a movie called Warrior Island, which was a great experience. I fought in a 8-man tournament on a tiki island, and I had to, choreographize my own fights with other fighters. And
it wasn't real fighting, but rather.
Yeah, and you have to sell it. A lot of these guys are experienced at doing movies, and when you get hit, you have to react. You know, like swing your head back and your body, and you know, it's quite a skill you have to learn to master. And I'm quite pleased with the results actually.
So where's this available to watch?
Premiered in America recently, but it's not like the big movie we're going to see in the cinemas, you know. It's got a long way to go. And I would say it's more of a child's movie, to be honest with you. There's no swearing in it, you know. I think it's very far-fetched. It's very... there's nothing wrong with it being a child's movie. You know, look at the Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Yeah. I mean, this is like... It's good for kids, you know, to teach them about honour, respect and martial arts and... it's
like
great. It's
Cobra Kai.
If I do a premiere in the UK and I'm selling tickets, you know, to raise myself some money and stuff, if it's not too far, because I might do one in Birmingham, come along, yeah.
Yeah, well, you never know what doors might open for you.
Well, of course, like I met the Viking Samurai, didn't I? And I'm bringing him over for an influencer boxing match.
So is he an actor?
Yeah,
right?
He's done a few movies now, and now the more movies he's done, he's just done one called The Last Kumite, and he's in great shape. He does these mad kicks and stuff, and he's getting connections, he's networking, and he's letting me know that Sheldon Lettich, who is one of the, he's a famous director from Van Damme movies, he's making a movie in the Midwest this summer, and basically if I pay my own flights, I could get in on that movie, you know? And I guess that's another movie opportunity where I might meet someone else that's going to help me in the future, or I could get recognised from there, so you never know, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, it was still a great experience for an MMA fighter to once again publicise him so much so, I publicised myself, to get recognised by someone in America who wanted to cast me in their movie, in their comic book series.
That's good. I think the best thing is be yourself, kind of thing. I know people play a role in, you know, if you look at what's his name, the UFC fighter, Colby
Covington, yeah.
But
he's always in character, which is the best thing about him. That's why it works, you know. He's never really out of character.
Yeah.
I mean, if you met him in the street, he'd be kind and courteous and
Yeah,
get his
yeah,
photograph with you.
it looks like it, yeah.
But how he achieved what he did financially is from being in the character. You say being himself, but that ain't himself.
No.
It's a character, a baddie, a heel. Like in wrestling, you've got to have good and bad.
That's
Like the shadow boxer, that's why I like him. He's a heel. I always like the bad guys. I like Colby Covington too. I especially liked it when he disrespects Ian Gary.
yeah.
Like he's done Ian Gary's career a world of good because people are talking about Ian Gary, you know? I mean, who would even know who Ian Gary is? They're like, oh, Ian Gary, the cuck, yeah? Oh, and then they start hearing about his wife, and then they're interested in him. And then what? They followed him on social media. They followed her, you know? So how that negativity can turn into, like, positive stuff, you know? So now he's going to have bigger numbers, you know? People say, actually, this guy can fight, you know? So it's funny, the shadow boxer was saying the other day, what that Machida woman is to Ian Gary is what shadow boxer is to me. Because people are like, oh, why is Ian Gary with her? You know, like, they hate her and like Ian Gary, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That's like me and the shadow boxer. What are them two doing together, you know? Why does Jimmy need to be with him, you know? Like...
But you don't think the shadow boxer, the samurai guy, you don't think he's really cut out to be a fighter, but more play the role?
Okay, look, he's trained hard all his life.
Yeah.
He hits a punch bag for hours, you know, he does pads and all this, and he probably does some sparring. He's had one celebrity boxing match with head guard on, you know?
Okay.
I don't think he's got enough experience to take me in the ring, to be honest with you, in my own sport of boxing, which I've been doing amateur boxing as a child. I had like 19 amateur boxing matches, okay? I've had 10 unlicensed boxing matches, all right? And then I've had bare-knuckle fights. So I think that all my experience versus his one celebrity boxing match against another celebrity boxer, you know, with head guards on, I think it's a mismatch, to tell you the truth. But that's influence of boxing for you, you know? Like, if he wants to fight me because he thinks I'm a stepping stone to fight Mike Perry, he might have the connections to get an influencer boxing match against Mike Perry. Because look, if Mike Perry thinks I can earn a few quid just to beat up this little Viking samurai, you know, with boxing gloves, why not? You know what I mean? It's a night out for me and the missus, you know what I mean? Like, he's not even going to care about it, you know what I mean? It might happen.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about the BKFC is that they don't mind you fighting in other organisations as long as it's not bare-knuckle.
Right.
So if you want to like just do a boxing match with gloves on, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right then. Gives you a bit more...
flexibility.
Yeah, gives you a bit more options, you know.
Cool, man.
Right, shall we take a little break?
Yeah, cool, man.
Stand,
That's good.
stretch.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Let me just get some...
So earlier when I got a bit emotional talking about my father, I wanted to touch base and say that, you know, he was more than an alcoholic, abusive father. You know, he was a good father. He was. When I was a kid, he used to take us out all the time and have a lot of fun, imagination games. Take us to the river. He was always very loving, you know. And I'm very blessed to have a dad and a male figure in my life. And you know, he was always there for me, birthdays and, you know, all his life. And you know, I used to argue with my missus and go see my dad, and we smoke a joint together. And he used to be like, oh, I couldn't put up with that, son, you know. And my father didn't have it easy as a boy, you know. He grew up with an alcoholic, abusive father that used to be violent to his mum and stuff, you know. So he was a better dad than what his dad was to him, you know. And it's hard trying to break the cycle, you know, obviously. And I feel like I have for a start because I don't drink alcohol. And, you know, like, my son's not been affected by, you know, the sort of cycle, you know. it's good to break the cycle.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, and they just carry on, you know, or from the parents' abuse or telling them you're not good enough or being alky, then they follow the same footsteps.
It's hard because I feel like I do get triggered, you know, and when I get triggered, it's like this chemical reaction that's going on inside your body, this anger management, you know, this fight or flight, you know. So I'm still that child, you know, that you got clipped around the head, you know what I mean? And now I'm maybe acting like an infantile toddler, but I'm an adult man, you know. And that's when you start thinking about, you know, your reactions and, you know, what's going on inside your body, these chemical firings, and that's why I shouldn't drink coffee, because when I'm drinking coffee, that's when I've got the least control, you know, from that fight or flight nervous system that can be activated, you know, and it can be activated so fast when I'm triggered, you know. And but it's one thing understanding it and, like, you know, being like, obviously life can trigger you, you know what I mean, when you're, you know, for example, if you're very materialistic and you drop your mobile phone and you've broken the screen, you're like, oh, you know, I'm pissed off. And, you know, these kind of things now are becoming less and less a problem for me, you know, like, it's only a mobile phone screen, it's only a dent in my car, it's only this and that, you know, there's worse things, you know, got to be grateful for the most important thing, and that is my well-being, you know what I mean, my health, you know, like, that's another reason why I'm living the life that I am, is for the people that can't, you know, like, I'm big blessed to be in this physical condition, to be able to fight in the BKFC, to feel the way I do, you know, because you have to feel unstoppable, you have to feel some way in life, you know, to get to the stage where you're ready to fight in the BKFC, you know, that is the best way to feel, because mentally, spiritually, physically, you feel unstoppable, unbreakable, you know what I mean? That is amazing feeling, you know what I mean? Like, I wish everybody could feel that, you know, at least one time in their life, you know? Like.
And what would you recommend for the, you know, the average guy who's not a fighter to, you know, but who wants to be healthy, and what would you recommend for them to feel unstoppable and on top of the world?
Well done, Dean. Cold water therapy, because that is brilliant, you know, cold water is merciless. You go into the ocean when it's 5 degrees and, you know, you go in there and straight away your body's like, all right, getting out of here now, you know what I mean? But you've got to have a mindset that says, no, I've come here to stay in here for a duration, and that duration is, I'm going to stay in this cold water until my body does its thing, until the blood pumps around, and I adapt and I overcome. And it's that point, you know, when the science is going on, you know, when your brown fats are being activated, that's when your immune system's going to strengthen, you know, because cold is one of our ancestral tenets. It's something that we're missing now, you know, like, our bodies have been created to withstand cold temperatures, you know, but life's too easy now, so people's immune systems are weaker. So it's a great way to strengthen your mind and your body and your spirit. All three comes together with cold water therapy. And if you want to follow someone who can help you on your journey, I recommend Wim Hof, the Dutch guy. You know, so physically good for your heart, obviously, because your heart is like pumping blood. Mentally, you know, like, when you go in cold water regularly, you know, it's like there's a bit of apprehension, but you know that it's good for you, you know, so it's like, it's almost like the fight, really. You get a bit of apprehension, but you know that the results, winning is good for your career, or, you know, it's good for your spirit. You'll be proud of yourself afterwards, trust me, you know, like, so it's, just like you take yourself in the cold water, you know, I'm taking myself in the BKFC circle, you know, in life, you know, to put yourself in, to become comfortable doing uncomfortable stuff. That's all it's about. You know, saunas, when you're in there for a long time, can be uncomfortable, but being comfortable in stressful situations, and that's putting yourself in stressful physical situations, yeah, by it could be like CrossFit or whatever, you know, giving yourself a number of push-ups or press-ups. I mean, I went in the gym the other day with an intention of doing 300 burpees at the end of a workout. You know, I didn't have to give up. I was spent, you know. I did 150, which is fair play, you know. But, you know, a little while later, I could have carried on doing them until I'd done the 300. So that kind of mindset, you know, giving yourself challenges. So I was 40 this year. I did 40 push-ups, then 39, 38, and I worked my way down. I ended up clocking up about 800 push-ups it is. You know, that's a kind of good mindset, you know, for anybody, you know, to give themselves challenges. So if anyone's watching this, they've got a birthday coming up, do the press-up challenge.
There you go. That's a good one, yeah. People maybe with heart conditions, you should maybe consult with their doctors with the cold water, don't you think, or what?
Nah. I wouldn't listen to the government about all this stuff. They tried telling me eating more than 2 egg yolks a day was bad for my health. Cholesterol. You know, you got to think there's a generation of children that have been brought up on this low-fat diet. Do you know how important animal fats are for the human body? You know, like I'm feeling the benefits. You know, the youthfulness that these animal fats contain. You know that we.
Yeah.
If you check out the carnivore diet, and I know you're gonna have vegans watching this, and I strongly believe that I'm thriving off a carnivore diet.
Yeah, it seems to be a very grey area when you talk about cholesterol, because some people say it doesn't mean nothing. Cholesterol is not linked to heart health. Some people say it's more to do with, you know, the carbs like bread and all this stuff, and the cereals and shit they tell people to eat. And the whole pyramid food scheme is wrong, and, you know,
I've been on lots of different diets. The best feeling I'm getting right now is from the high-fat diet, to be honest with you. Most energy, skin, teeth, cleaner. I had a pizza last night. A nice one. A goat's cheese and beetroot one.
Goat's cheese and beetroot?
Yeah, from Waitrose, yeah.
Pizza, goat's cheese and beetroot pizza.
That's a bit of the Beetroot King. Beetroot, baby, that's my name.
What made you choose the name Beetroot King?
Yeah, but I see the Liver King, he was flying on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, that's a cool name. Like, and I was eating beetroots and they're making me feel great. And I just started calling myself the Beetroot King. And I started biting beetroots this summer and going, beetroots. And there's something that beetroots give you, like this mad energy, I think. You know, it's true. It's like, apparently, warriors used to eat beets before battle. And I don't know, like when you think of Vladimir the Impaler, you know, like you think of him like drinking blood before battle. How do we know he wasn't drinking beetroot juice? Because it looks like blood when it's in your mouth. Yeah.
Who knows?
And he had this super strength, you know, and he was like lifting guys up on spears and that, but really he was eating beetroots. Beetroots are good. Another thing, like Popeye, like spinach. I mean, everyone thinks spinach ain't even that great for you. You know, like spinach has got a low amount of iron compared to beetroot. I mean, beetroot.
Or real meat.
Yeah, beetroot is what Popeye should have been eating. Funny, when I first got into professional MMA, I was looking for a sponsor because I was fighting on a big show. At the time, it was on Sky Sports. And I'm thinking, who are going to benefit the most from this industry? And there was a company called Beat It with beetroots. And I was using their supplements anyway, much like I use CMOS and Afinase, stuff that I want to be taking, but I want to be getting for free, you know? And I could wear their logo on my shorts. I remember sending them an email. They never got back to me. Little did they know that man sending them the email would one day turn into the Beetroot King and then develop his own line of beetroots that would completely annihilate them. They'd be like, imagine that, I get my own brand of beetroot powder or something. No, yeah, when I get the following, they'd be like, man, have you seen the Beetroot King? He's nuts. It's true because when I started posting, like me doing all these training videos, one-arm push-ups and stuff like that. And people were like, oh, wow, Jimmy's got a lot of energy. Yeah, he's eating beetroots. Then next thing you know, people are in the supermarket and they're sending me pictures on Instagram and they're tagging me in beetroots. And I've probably inspired, I'm not hundreds of people, but, I don't know, maybe hundreds, to eat a raw beetroot. They might think, what's this all about? This madman keeps on eating a raw beetroot.
You just eat it raw.
And they give it a try, you know what I mean? Some people posted me in videos. And anyway, I like the handle because it's kind of easy to remember. And, I've been trying to, get a following on Instagram for a long time. And, it's not easy, people don't follow you, Even now I've got a viral reel, the amount of views that I'm getting, the amount of traction. I've had 100,000 people visit my page this month. How many of those people have decided to follow me out of that 100,000? 1,000. I come across people that got great content and think, oh, I'm going to follow this person straight away, and they got a lot of followers. They got something. They're doing something right. I put a video on YouTube earlier, and I said about the 222s because I keep on seeing these 222s. It's called Synchronicity, angel numbers. Now you might look at your phone at a certain time, and the times. But sometimes you think, now this is too much of a coincidence. This isn't in my head. This is happening. I am seeing these numbers, and I'm seeing these numbers when I'm going in this direction. And that is basically the universe saying, yeah, you're on the right path. So it's a spiritual. That's what I'm getting anyway. The 222s, and what's quite scary is it seems to be when I'm living my warrior mindset mode towards my bare-knuckle career. I've been seeing the 222s, and it just so happens that I'm fighting Danny Christie, whose birthday is on the 22nd, and I signed the contract, not on his birthday, but on another 22nd, it was on the 22nd, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. But then, when I went over to the forest, on the way there, up the mountain, the car in front of me had the number plates 222, When I arrived in Ireland and went back to the Shadow Boxer's gaff, and I looked at my phone when I got in bed after a time travelling, and the time was 2222, You couldn't write it. I woke up in the morning and looked at my Instagram post, and it had 222 views, or just seeing a lot of the numbers, the synchronicity,
Yeah.
And then you sort of know, you know what I mean? You sort of feel it's the universe sort of gently whispering to you,
Have you seen a Jim Carrey film? Something about the numbers. He got obsessed with these numbers.
No, but it's true, man. They're
I'll
called
see if I can
numbers.
find it. I'll send it to you.
Anyway, when I was talking about my dad earlier, it was kind of annoying when I left it that I was, just the sadness of it all. You know what I mean? But the positiveness of it all. That he was a good example to me in a lot of ways. To be a man. And a child does need a man as a father figure. And to help a boy be strong, and with the modern society and stuff, with a lot of the families that are breaking up and boys not having a father as a role model, you know what I mean? It's I do worry about the toxic masculinity of females these days, and how it's all being flipped, and the plastic, it's called endocrine disruptors. The testosterone in men is lower now than it's ever been. Right back in the days, in the 1930s, a 60-year-old man had more testosterone than the bloody kids nowadays.
Why do you think that? Do you think
they're doing it? They're doing it. Chemtrails or whatever. They're putting
something in the water, or
what? Something in the water. Yeah. I went to Legoland actually with my mum's disabled car badge, and to get a fast pass, I go, oh, this is my disability badge. I said, but today I've come as a man. And they're like, okay, brilliant, yeah. And they go, would you like I go, can I have it in my man's name, please? My man's name's James.
Have you ever been to Thailand?
Well, there we go. Yeah. Now apparently, my ex-wife had been in Thailand, and she assures me that the lady boys are better looking because they're bigger, they're more attractive, maybe. You know what I mean? They're I don't know. That's what she says, and I probably agree. I guess if they were lined up, I might pick. If you had 10 lady boys and 10 Thai girls, and they're all lined up, and you didn't tell me. And they say, well, pick your favourites. I might just pick all the lady boys, So,
But I'm sure you'll be able to tell in the bedroom if it's.
Yeah. At that point, you're all worked up and it's too late, and you think, do you know what? YOLO, man, YOLO.
You can tell by the Adam's apple, man.
Yeah. I was in Italy once, and there was a Brazilian chick with big boobs, and I was like, feeling full of myself and that. And I seen her, and I was like, "Ciao, baby," like that, She's like, "Ciao, baby." I was like, "Oh shit, that's an Adam's apple." I'm like, it's like, see ya. Funny story, actually. The tattoo shop, Family Inc. in Boscombe, there was another South African dude working there.
Rudy.
No, another one after him, the bald head.
Oh yeah, Zulu.
Zulu, yeah. So Zulu was in this establishment next door, and I was in there having a coffee with my young daughter, and I seen some cakes being passed around. Now these were hash browns that had just been baked or whatever. And I said, "Oh, can I have one of those?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, dude, there's stuff in there or whatever." But it was too late. I'd already promised myself. In my head, I fancy one of those. They look really nice.
Yeah.
I ate the thing, not giving it much respect. Whoa, I was gone. I went to Wilkinson's about an hour later with my dog, tied him up in the car park, my big dog.
Yeah.
Come out of Wilkinson's with a load of stuff which I didn't even intend to buy.
Yeah.
Walked home, left the dog in the car park.
Oh, so.
Then I went with my family for a meal, come back and said, "Where's the dog?" She goes, "I don't know." I said, "Call your brother, see if he's got the dog." Anyway, next thing you know, the dog's on Facebook. He's been tied up under the car park for the past couple of hours, and people were all concerned about him, and they took him to a vet's and stuff. And I was just like,
did they take him off there?
No, I got him out of the vet's, but it was embarrassing,
Yeah.
Because I couldn't really say I've been taking space cakes, It come out a little while later. I said, "Look, that time I left the dog." I said, I ate this cake, but I didn't know it was stuff. I didn't know there was marijuana in it. So when you eat cannabis, like when I was in America, I tried these sweets. Man, I was gone. I had these really strong gummies, and it felt like almost like DMT, or magic mushrooms or something like that. When I closed my eyes, I was really in another universe,
Yeah.
And it just reminded me how strong THC and cannabinoids are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's much worse when you eat it. The effect. Every time I've eaten it, I got to a point where I think I'm dying. It's so bad.
Scary, yeah.
How are you feeling with the tattoo?
Yeah, it's really pleasurable.
Good.
There were certain opportunities that come around that I couldn't say no to. Like when I did the team fighting in Russia, that was like something special. Do you know what I mean? To represent my country in a 5-on-5, it was exciting. It was something special. So really, I needed to top. Each one needed to be bigger than the next. And I wasn't going to take a step backwards in MMA. So when the opportunities weren't there, then I retired anyway, But I thought this BKFC, with it being exciting, with me thinking about how I would have been well suited to that sport, more well suited to BKFC than I would have been MMA,
Yeah. Do you think BKFC or any bare-knuckle fighter, do you think they get more respect than other fighters?
Yeah, for sure. It's the real gladiators of our time. It's the real brutalness. It's the it's the 1% of fighters that don't want to do that. You know what I mean? There's many men that would probably do a boxing match, but when it comes to taking the gloves off,
it's a different ball game, isn't it?
Ball game, yeah. But it's proven to be a safe sport. They're doing it all around the world, and it's growing. It's the fastest growing sport in the world.
I think people still got that barbaric traits in them, from the ancestors. And
it's true, yeah.
I think, some more than others. But that is still with us today. We just live in a modern world. But we still got a gladiator, but, like the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Like the UFC and that, people gather around,
enjoy
watch the gladiators fight, cheer, bet money, drink. It's just all modern.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
But Yeah, the technology and everything, and there's just more rules in place to protect people. Like you can't just go and chop someone's head off with a sword.
I love some of that AI generated stuff. Like you could have two UFC fighters, and then the AI turns them into warriors in the Colosseum.
Yeah.
So clever, isn't it? You know.
What's your take on the pyramids and that? Do you think it was built by man? Do you think it was an ancient civilization?
Ancient civilization.
Yeah.
I think that
or aliens.
Aliens, yeah, not built by men. You know.
Yeah.
The secrets of the pyramids have been hidden from us. The universe, what we're capable of, you know, like our pineal glands, and you know, the real power that we have. You know that. Basically, we don't even know how powerful we are because it's been hidden from us, you know?
Yeah, I genuinely think they don't know how the pyramids was built, you know?
Oh, they know. Yeah, they know, yeah. But I definitely do believe in what you put out, you get back. You know, like physics or whatever, you know, you see the balls that hit the other balls, and then it comes back to you. You know what I mean? The energy. You know, and like I say, I'm high vibrational. I'm living my life, you know, trying my best to be as good, like close to God, and I believe that it's going to come back to me. You know, all the hard work I've been putting in, you know, my self belief, and you know, it's all I'm going to manifest. You know, what I wanted ultimately. You know what I mean? Like some people don't even know what they want. They're like thinking. I've got a friend that's going for it as well, you know, like, it's almost like, you know, people think, oh, you know, he just wants to be famous, he just wants to be this. I don't know what I wanted, you know, I wanted more. I wanted to be using some of my talents that God gave me, you know. And if one of them is having stones like King Kong, do you know what I mean? Like, are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which fighter would you say do you look up to and admire?
Mike Platinum Perry.
Yeah.
Very much, yeah. I mean,
what is it about him that you know you respect?
Yeah, just his achievements. I mean, he hasn't had easy fights. I mean, if you look at the guys that he's had to fight, they're beasts, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Julian Lane on his first BKFC fight.
It's bang, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me bang.
He was a proper BKFC fighter with loads of bare-knuckle experience.
Yeah.
He beat him. And he goes and beats Michael Venom Page. No one really thought Platinum would beat him, to be honest with you.
He was eating those shots.
And Luke Rockhold, I mean, he was they've all been worthy opponents, you know. So he's about to fight Thiago Alvarez, who's a beast as well, a savage. He's 2-0 in BKFC.
Eddie Alvarez.
No, his name's Thiago. He's beaten Eddie Alvarez, yeah. But, you know, all he does is win, win, win.
So when do you see yourself, if everything goes well, and according to plan, when would you be facing for that title shot?
Yeah, that'd be the next fight for the British BKFC belt. So that would be this year, I would presume. With it only being June, it'd roll around to before the end of the year. So I could end 2024 with having the BKFC belt around my waist if I win my next 2 fights.
Wow. Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting stuff. Really hope it all goes your way and work out for you.
Yeah, man.
All you can do is put in the work.
Yeah, believe in yourself.
And believe.
Yeah. That doubt, you know, that's that doubt that creeps in everybody's mind that says, you know, oh, I'm not good enough, not me, someone else, you know.
Yeah.
Why not you? You know, like, it's that.
Yeah.
Affirmations are important. You know, some days you can, like, here's a good affirmation to say to yourself. Say, life is good and it's about to get better. You know, because that just sets you up for everything. Gratitude by saying that life is good and it's about to get better is like opening the door to more positive stuff. And it's almost like you need to reprogram your mind, yeah, that to get rid of this negativity, yeah, that life is good and it's about to get better. Yeah, be excited about the future, about the abundance which is coming your way, about all the positive stuff which is going to happen to you. Yeah, not positive stuff doesn't happen to me, you know. And it's almost like your body's listening all the time. And Bruce Lee said that, yeah? Your body is listening, yeah? So, you know, when you talk about, no, when I win, not if I win, when I win. You know, you're programming your mind and your body, I'm going to win. When I win. It's not if, when.
Yeah.
You know, no one's got it mastered. You know what I mean? I'm trying. I'm here. I'm sat in front of you. I'm only human, but I'm trying to self-master myself. You know what I mean? The best I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got myself this far in this short period of time. You know?
Yeah.
I was finished. You know, I had no. I was nobody in the fight world anymore. You know, and now people are excited to see me fight the top dog. You know, and I've manifested that just by being me, you know.
Yeah.
And
you still got to put in the work, because people can manifest, but that doesn't mean things are going to fall in your lap. You still got to work for it.
I believe in that. That's that spirit of harmony, isn't it? To make sure that it goes to the person who deserves it, who put in the work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like anything. Even if I wake up at 3 a.m. and go for a run, it's like I haven't done that, but maybe I should, you know, because it's just like your opponent's not doing that, you know what I mean? So it's just like, but you did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mad, some of the, some things that you hear, there was something I heard on Instagram, it was a really cool video about this kid with one arm who did judo competitions or whatever, you know? And he got to the final and he only knew one move. And he just beat everybody with this one move. And then in the final, he beat the guy. And then he said to his master, he said, how could I beat everybody because I've only got one move? And he goes, because the move that you've got, the only way to defend it is to grab the left arm. He hasn't got a left arm, do you know what I mean? So it's like, so sometimes it's that thing that you think is against you can actually work in your favour, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that could be like me with the Danny Christie fight. Do you know what I mean? That's in the chaos, you know. Anyway, what a rush it is to get in there. That's amazing, you know. It's good. It's a great feeling, you know. Fighting in general, like boxing, you know, that when you give, or any sport or exercise, when you're giving it your best, you know, it's a great feeling, you know. Like even fights that haven't gone my way, if I've given my best, you know, that's there's no better feeling in the world, you know.
Yeah. When do you feel the most nervous? Walking into the ring or making your way down to the ring? Or?
Sometimes in the changing rooms when they say, oh, you're next, you know? And then it's just like, oh shit, you know, like...
Do you ever question yourself, why am I doing this?
Yeah, well, I've got friends actually that have been like, they've said to themselves, they ain't doing it no more, they've given them so much nerves or anxiety before boxing. And they might have had about 8 or 10 boxing matches, but they're still getting that nerves. And then in the fight, they'll knock the guy out, you know? And they'll be like, they still want to do it, you know?
Yeah.
But if you ask them before that, then they don't want to do it, you know?
I mean, it must be such a brutal, defeated feeling if you get knocked out, you know, in front of your family or loved ones. And you wake up, they don't know for a moment what's going on.
It happened to me in an unlicensed boxing match against a guy who was quite inexperienced. He was a steroid user as well. He was very muscular. He had a body like Vladimir Klitschko. And me being a tough MMA fighter, you know, what's this guy going to do to me? You know what I mean? With boxing gloves on, you know? But like I say, the boxing glove can be very concussive.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any training or preparation for this fight. And I felt like my experience would be easily enough. So let's just say I overlooked him, you know? So I was sure he was going to gas because he was a juice head. Anyway, he pulled the pin in the second round. He just threw a big right that hit me on the temple and ended up doing a little face plant. I was knocked out, you know what I mean? Like my girlfriend thought I was faking it. You know, like, I don't know, it didn't seem natural, you know what I mean? It was, I was very concussed, man. I was asking, have I been paid? How many rings was I wearing? It was literally like I was brain damaged, you know? Really concussed.
Jeez. Did you fight on like grass or
no one really seen.
concrete or
No, it was
ring?
it was in a boxing ring. But do you know what? It wasn't a big show. The guy put it on YouTube. I told him to take it down, and that was it. It happened like 10 years ago. It's my only time I've ever been knocked out, and I learned that you can't ever go into the ring without sparring, preparing, and being fit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to describe it. It's been 6 years since I last had a tattoo, and
Where was your most painful one?
probably my chest. But the person who did it was very barbaric.
Yeah.
He was one of those sadistic tattoo artists that got a lot of pleasure out of like hurting people, you know. And he used to get dry tissue paper and just rip it on your skin and then do it really deep, you know. And and it was alright on the chest plate. It's painful.
How many kids are you in the family?
Well, I've got 2 brothers. I'm the eldest.
Did you bully them growing up?
Yeah, I did, yeah. one of them resents me for it to this day.
Really?
Yeah, the youngest, Michael, he's a little bastard. Look, I thought he was disrespectful to my mum, so I used to try and discipline him and that, you know. Try to beat some manners into him, you know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he resents me for it now, you know.
Wow.
Even
Never
though
really spoke again or what?
No, I helped him with his MMA and stuff like that. I got him a title shot on UC MMA, and
he does
become
MMA as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
We've had some real fights together, actually, you know, like as in like arguments that have turned into fights and stuff. You know?
Have you seen that MMA film about the 2 brothers?
Yeah, I have, yeah. What's that called? It's Tom Hardy, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a good actor.
Very good.
I've seen him in Bronson.
Oh, brilliant. Love that movie.
Wonder if Bronson's ever going to come out, man. Never killed anybody.
I know, yeah.
I know he must behave in the prison, apparently. I think his sentence just kind of kept bowling every time he fights.
Yeah, because he's got a movie out, because he could be rich and famous, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Imagine if Bronson was on social media, if he was on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, like YouTube
Millions of followers, yeah.
You know, he's literally going to be making money, you know, whatever he does. You know, he's a likeable personality. I've read his book, actually, is about physical training whilst in the prison.
Oh, yeah?
You know? He trains everything, his eyeballs.
How does he do that?
Just like, I don't know, in his book it tells you, like, he's like staring
side
at
to
points
side.
at the wall, yeah.
That tells me
His penis,
he's got
he
a lot of
he gets
time.
a towel and does push-ups with his penis. You know, he's trying to train everything he can.
I mean, it would have been good if he at least had a missus in there with him.
Yeah,
Put all that training to work.
Poor old Charlie Bronson.
So what advice would you give to someone who wants to pursue bare-knuckle fighting as a career?
I think women dig men with scars anyway, you know, like, you got to be, vanity's got to go out the window, you know, if you cared what you look like, you know what I mean, because there's a good chance you're going to get a few more scars on your face, you know.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's masculinity, yeah. I guess I used to be worried about that, you know, when I was a younger man, you know.
All right.
I think, yeah. So, number one, you've got to really be a masculine man, you know. Not worry about getting your face busted up at all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, yeah. And when you're in there and damage is done, you got to cut, you know, you got to carry on, you know, you don't quit.
That's it.
So if you think you're cut out for that, you know, if you think that you're masculine enough for it, then go for it.
Do you think that somebody can train to become a good fighter if they're not naturally a fighter by heart? Do you think they can still, if they want to do this?
Yeah, there's levels to it. So my path was amateur boxing, unlicensed boxing, which is kind of like, I'm not saying it's like professional boxing, but you know, you use 10-ounce gloves. They're quite powerful men, you know what I mean? They a lot of them are tough fighters, you know. They're not all school boxers. Some of them are just guys that are pretty handy with their fists, you know. MMA, then you're doing knees and elbows, and you know, it's more conditioning. So I guess that's the progression, I would say, you know. So you don't have to do MMA. But what I'm saying is, maybe it'd be good to do a hybrid boxing match or a K1 fight, something where it's going to be a bit more, challenging. So yeah, that'd be good steps. Boxing, unlicensed, hybrid boxing, and then finally I think you'd be ready for a bare knuckle at that point. But if you're a very mentally strong person and you think that you can deal with the aspect of cuts and abrasions, and it's no different than boxing.
Yeah.
Only that it's kind of, you just have to be a bit tougher, hands and wrists and all that,
And how does people do with the ego?
It can be somebody's downfall, I guess, like people with big egos, like, I don't think, I'm not doing this to boost my ego, or I'm so tough I do bare knuckle boxing, I'm doing the BKFC because it's the step forward in the fighting career that I've paved out for myself over the years. I didn't want to take a step backwards,
Yeah.
So for me, it was a step forward. It's a big name, the BKFC, with big opportunities. And I've done well to get a contract, really, because there's guys that are going on this show called the Contenders, and actually I'm like the main event for the BKFC Contender Series. Now the BKFC Contender Series are for people that want contracts in the BKFC. So it could be someone like yourself who hasn't particularly got a big resume in fighting, like you haven't been a professional MMA fighter, but you're handy with your fists and you want it.
Right.
So you contact the BKFC and you say, I've got what it takes.
Okay.
And they let you do these tryouts, and then you're on the Contender Series. And then for this prize fighter Contender BKFC that I'm headlining, guys like yourself that will be fighting in bare knuckle, and they do good. That's it. They got a contract.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
So that's how you do it. If you want to be a bare knuckle fighter, contact Andrew Bakewell for the BKFC, and you'll see on the BKFC UK Instagram page or Facebook, they'll be advertising for these BKFC tryouts, which should be held in gyms. They get you sparring with boxing gloves, and if they can see that you can handle yourself with the boxing gloves, and they think you're good enough, they're gonna invite you to a BKFC Contender show where you can prove yourself. And then if you're good enough after winning one of them, then you can get a BKFC contract and fight on the main card.
And BKFC is by far that's the big leagues. That's like the UFC of the fight game, but in the bare knuckle world.
That's right, yeah. And that's why these guys are wanting to fight for nothing to get the contract, to get the opportunities.
Anything to get in the door.
The opportunities like what I've got in front of me, things that can change your life dramatically.
Absolutely, yeah.
Somebody shared on Facebook earlier saying Jimmy's got a set of balls like King Kong to fight Danny Christie,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Great,
well,
yeah.
he's definitely...
No risk, no reward.
That's it. And you could... all it takes is one punch.
Exactly, yeah.
All it takes is one punch, man. Hopefully catch him nice and early.
It's going to be fun. There's going to be blood.
But you know what? It's you
Be
can
violent
really be
first.
proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Be violent first.
Be violent first.
Yeah, you don't want to be taking those shots. What would you say? What is the best advice for self-defense?
I would say learn jiu-jitsu would help you a lot. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu, man. Because let's face it, a guy could be a really good boxer, which takes years to be able to become a good boxer, but you yourself could be able to wrap up Danny Christie like a pretzel,
Yeah.
If you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner,
Yeah,
and
of
they're
course.
not. Danny's probably got MMA experience, so if you've got MMA experience and you can wrestle and defense, but most guys that are good with their fists, as in boxers, haven't got a clue about jiu-jitsu, so that gives you an advantage. Something I'd use on the streets anyway is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Over fists all day long.
How were you in school as a kid, growing up in school? Were you in trouble a lot, or?
Yeah, I got expelled from school.
At what age?
Well, I went to another school, fortunately, so I didn't I still did my education, but
right.
it was upsetting to go to a school where you make friends from primary, and then it's a Catholic school that I went to, and then to be expelled.
Okay.
In year 9 I was like 14. It was upsetting for me because I had to go to another school and the subjects that I was learning weren't available. And the school that I went to, there was other expellees from other schools, because at that time there was a lot of kids getting expelled. Like now they don't expel children so easy as they did back then, So I was at the school full of people that was bad behaviour, really, It wasn't good for my my academics, I ended up doing quite bad in my GCSEs compared to what I would have done if I stayed in my Catholic school, where I was doing quite well with my education. It was just my my behaviour,
Yeah, that's the thing with kids and that, when you're surrounded with other boys and you're all naughty and everything's funny and
disruptive. I was.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, I also kind of experienced that a bit. I fell behind with the maths and everything. It became a massive problem. It was.
Yeah, I really didn't enjoy maths. I had a bad experience with a maths teacher, and she just made maths like a thing that I just didn't like, and I just.
Yes. And once you fall behind, it's very, very hard
to try to copy people's work or
to
whatever.
catch up. Yeah.
Woo! Throwing Spartan lever. This is Spartan lever right here, baby.
So that fight, can people purchase pay-per-view, or where can
watch it on the BKFC app, which is available on the App Store. Just put in BKFC, subscribe, and I tell you what, it's a great app. They've got a lot of content, a lot of fights. Mike Perry, if you've got the BKFC app, like as we're talking today, you could watch Knucklemania this weekend and watch Mike Perry fight alongside with your subscription. So you can watch me and Mike Perry in the same month.
That's awesome.
How great is that? Sorry about the American accent, it comes and goes. I'm spending too much time in the States. That's a bit like my son. If he sat at a bus stop, he would be telling people, I met the Queen of England, I met Mike Tyson, I met Conor McGregor, I met Jake Paul. They'd be like, yeah, right, yeah, right. It's true.
Yeah. How did he meet the Queen of England?
Oh, that's a hell of a story. So, my wife, my ex-wife, she could manifest stuff, She took him to Dorchester when the Queen Mother was alive, and they were unveiling the statue in Poundbury in Dorchester of the Queen Mother. So the Queen went with her mother, the Queen Mother, to see the statue, and the local school there was going to meet the Queen, some selected children. So Jessica went to the front of the rails, and she popped Gerard in his little suit with his bunch of flowers with these children. Gerard, being a confident young man, went straight to the front of the queue and made a beeline for the Queen and gave her a bunch of flowers.
Wow.
And she knelt down and took the flowers off him and thanked him. And he was on the news, and he had pictures,
wow,
in the magazines and stuff. He doesn't even go to that school in Dorchester. But the funny thing was, is when she said when she was on the way that she was going to go and meet the Queen with Gerard, I was like, she won't get anywhere near the Queen,
Yeah. You remember when, not when they buried her, but when they did like the reveal thing or whatever, somebody made a beeline for the casket. I don't think she's in there anyway.
Yeah. Not real.
Have you tried this stuff before?
Steroids, no, never. I've had one injection of testosterone in my whole life, and that was in Bulgaria, back in, before I even done MMA fighting. Do you know what I mean? I was doing a bit of bodybuilding, and I was going to this place called Sunny Beach. It's like a party place.
All right.
And I was training really hard, like naturally or whatever, And I just wanted to have a little boost so I could bang the back doors of some of these Bulgarian chicks, So I said, give me some juice, man. I'm going to Sunny Beach. And I was in the strip club. I was like, I have you, and you. Sorry if I've missed anybody out, but I only had one injection.
So did it work for you, or did it just make you...
made me angry, bro. I ended up beating up my friend. So
really?
That's why I shouldn't. That's why I shouldn't take juice. Not that I would, but you know, I'm not the right mental. You know, I'm not wired up right for it. You know, I tell you, a brilliant biography I read was Bret the Hitman Hart's biography. You know, the career that he had and stuff.
Yeah.
He was one of my favourite wrestlers. The excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But yeah, he was a talented wrestler. You know, he wasn't the biggest guy. But he had the good moves. You know, he paved the way for the more athletic wrestlers like Shawn Michaels. You know.
Yeah. It must be so tough for a professional athlete to see yourself decline right in front of your eyes.
Yeah,
like
of course.
you're getting slower, weaker, older, frail. I mean, we all do, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
It's I don't know, the way I see it, you know, when people get older, they get kind of depressed. A woman especially, I think. They don't like getting older.
No.
But the way I see it is, you should just be thankful you're blessed to live another year, because so many people, they die too young.
Yeah. Man,
And
I feel
you know, yeah,
really
you
blessed.
get older and yeah, whatever, and aches and pains and all that shit, you know, but at least you are blessed with another year, you know.
Funny enough, I went swimming the other day with a 77-year-old man. He's a funny looking dude. He's got a big white beard and a bald head and short little fella. And he swims and he swims and he swims and then he goes for a sauna. And I don't know how many lengths he swims, but I know he tells me that he does so many lengths and then he goes for a sauna. Anyway, I thought, you know what, I'll join the man for a swim. So I must have still swam about 20 lengths. And I said, how many more lengths we got to do? And he goes, 52. So anyway, I carried on swimming with him and I was thinking, now this will just teach you patience, if anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was boring more than anything. But
Yeah.
it's quite good for my hands actually, because where I don't swim that much, I could feel the muscles in my hands. Then we had a sauna together.
Yeah.
His name's Paul, he's my new mate. But 77-year-old and he does all this swimming and stuff.
Yeah,
so
good on him, man.
that would be me one day.
Stay fit.
You know, I spent some time in the police custody. They tried to put me in a nut house. Because I was doing clips from Rambo. Ugh. They're like, do you actually believe you've been to Vietnam? The shrink said to me. I said, no, I don't, no. But nobody would help. It's my friend. There's pieces of him all over the place. He's just crying, saying, Jimmy, I want to go home. I want to drive my Chevy. I said, with what? I can't find your fucking legs. It's over, Johnny. Nothing is over. You just don't turn it off. At least in the field we had a code of honor. You watch my back, I watch yours. Out here there's nothing. I used to fly a gunship. I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Now I can't even get a job washing cars. The U.S. Navy officer should not drink. If he should drink, he should not get drunk. If he staggers, he shall not stumble. If he stumbles, he shall not fall. And if he should fall, he should fall in a manner which to cover his stripes so he cannot be easily identified as an officer. You got that, Cookie? Anyway, I was doing that for a couple of hours. Yeah. They try to send me away. We are salvage experts. If it's lost, we find it. If it's dead, we bring it up. Give me 20 more push-ups. I'm trusting you, my man.
All right, my brother. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being my first guest on my podcast, the Dean Ganser podcast.
I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you